song. Not trying to hold y'all too long.
Wait, I want to make sure it's on you. Okay. See, I haven't done this in so long that.
You got it? Quiet on set. Quiet on set. I wish you had one of those directors.
Except,
you know, the thing they
Charlize put the thing in the front.
You might have to move it over.
Might have to. Will have to.
Because the thing, I had to move it up though because the background wasn't showing properly.
Okay.
Is that one showing properly? Is that one?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Greetings. Greetings.
The light's not in on it.
Hello, Brittany.
Maybe if you move it in front of that one. It's fine. This is all part of the making, y'all. Y'all get to see director's cut and everything behind the scenes. You know, it feels real.
Trying to get everything coordinated here because we're on Instagram, Charlize's Instagram, my Instagram, YouTube.
You got Miss Director, Miss Camera Woman.
Charlize is has released.
My song.
She's going to perform her song. It's released on YouTube.
Yes, it's on YouTube. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal. If you use that, Pandora, you can Shazam it. You'll find the song. It's also on Instagram if you want to use it on your video. It's on Facebook if you want to use it on your video. It's on TikTok. Go on TikTok, search it up. It's gonna be there.
Oh, you got a fan, Brittany. Say hello.
Oh, hi, Brittany. How are you? Where you watching from? Actually, that's a little stalker.
She says she's never forget when you were on the Peace Dealer. That's my show with you.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was a while ago. That must have been like 4 years ago.
Yeah, and you also find her song on iTunes as well.
Yeah, I said that.
And what's the other one? Tidal? Tidal? T-I-D-A-L?
Yes, T-I-D-A-L.
Yes. Yeah. So I couldn't let any of her fans down. So anyone who's been following her journey, my journey.
Yeah, in case you don't follow me on Instagram.
In case you don't follow her on Instagram at Charlize.green.
Or you can search Sanchild and it's gonna pop up too.
Yes.
All right, so we gonna get this show on the road.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. My cousin's the best.
Hey, what's good? What's happening? What's good? Okay, we back at it again. We back at it, my friends. So let's go hop in. Song go. I'ma let my soul speak from here on out. In case you didn't notice, I'm floating on this Lotus Cloud. High on my conscience. It's about time I'm sprouting out flowers and hour. Insisted on manifesting. The brain is mighty powerful. I'll awake in the morning. Sun is rising. Birds sweet and chirp. Mountains peaking the horizon. But if reality speaks, my surroundings are bleeding. Colors don't bleed easily like you and me. So I hope to be. I'm up in the sky, I'm flying high. I'm floating on Lotus Cloud 9. I'm up in the sky, I'm flying real high. And nothing can take these wings of mine. I always knew that someday I'd be somebody. Call it sudden attack. I rolled up on shore like a tsunami. Shifting this earth plane like tectonics. Just trying to master this craft of paper. Pulling all the origami. That some copy and paste. But better fail cause they technique is sloppy. Head on my way. Wait before you get bodied. Acting on lottie-dottie. Understand that I'm blindly driven with ambition. I'm hoping or waiting. But willing you to listen to these stories. I paint is pretty pictures. Although paper my brushes flourish with conviction. My canvas so not so dirty. The colors stand out so pretty. Slowly they started running. So now I'm going to be. I'm up in the sky. I'm flying high. I'm floating on Lotus Cloud 9. I'm up in the sky. I'll fly high. And nothing can take these wings of mine. Woo! Can you do that on Instagram? I don't know. Instagram, don't ban me. Don't ban me, Instagram. Don't do that. But yes, that was Lotus Cloud 9. If you haven't heard it, you heard it now. If you want to hear it again, you might have to check it out on your iTunes, your Spotify, or your SoundCloud. I'm joking, it's not on SoundCloud. I just want that to rhyme. But yes, you can check it out on, like I said, all streaming platforms, or you can click the link in my bio if you follow me on Instagram. Yeah, it's there. You click the link and it'll send you to like where you could find it or whatever. So I'm talking about the song and how I worked on it. So the first lyrics of the song. First, I'm gonna talk about the lyrics of the song, right? So I go, I'm gonna let my soul speak from here on out. In case you didn't notice, I'm floating on this Lotus Cloud. Lotus Cloud essentially is like, how do you say it? It's a metaphor for a sanctuary, of which everyone has in their mind, where it's like, I want to reach a place of peace and relaxation, so you don't have to worry about stuff. So that's what Lotus Cloud 9 is, right? And then I'm like, I'm let my soul speak here on out. In case you didn't notice, I'm floating on this Lotus Cloud. High on my conscious. It's about time I'm sprouting. 9 flowers an hour. Insisted on manifesting. The brain is mighty powerful. So I'm talking about how consciousness and how you manifest things, and how when you think it, of course you have to put action towards it, but then eventually it will come into fruition. You know what I'm saying? So that explains that part. And then I'll say, reality speaks, my surroundings are bleak. Okay, sun is rising, birds sweet and chirp, mountains peak in the horizon. But if reality speaks, my surroundings are bleak and colors don't bleed easily like you and me. So I hope to be. Of course, in my head, I'm like, the perfect way to wake up would be, you see the sun rising, you hear the birds chirping, tweeting, whatever, and then you see the mountains and the peak. You know what I'm saying? Mountains peaking. I was like, but yeah, I think of it in my head as like a perfect way to wake up, or however anybody wants to wake up. You see a perfect image, and I say, but if reality speaks, them colors don't bleed easily like you and me, right? Meaning blood will shed faster than color will bleed into the world, essentially. Meaning, what do you see when you go on the news every single day? Oh, this one died, this one murdered, whatever, every single day. But it's still winter, and not even a flower has bloomed yet. That's my way of thinking, and that's how I came up with that line, right? Chorus. I'm up in the sky, I'm flying high, I'm floating on Lotus Cloud 9, right? Like I said, Lotus Cloud 9, that sanctuary, and I'm saying I'm going to use Lotus Cloud 9 as something to escape from that reality that I see every day or hear about every single day when I wake up, right? And then let me move on to the hook. Not the hook. Second verse. I always knew that someday I'd be somebody. Call it sudden attack. I rolled up on shore like a tsunami. Shifting this earth plane like plate tectonics. Just trying to master this craft of paper. Pulling all origami that I'm saying. I feel like I was born to do this. Right? And not on some corny-ish. I'm being serious, because ever since I was even like, what? 3, 4, I like music. I always dance. Always dancing, always moving. Mother, you can contest to this.
Why would I contest?
Say yes. I mean, not contest. Concur. Say yes.
I concur.
She concurs. Say it a little louder.
I concur.
Okay, for the people in the back. You hear that? Okay. She concurs. Okay, so yes, she concurs. Yes, when I was 3 or 4, I always danced all the time, all over the place, dancing around, moving around. I didn't know I was gonna rap. That came more so when I was like 9 years old, and you know, it was hard out here. I had to rap battle my brothers for chicken nuggets. You know what I'm saying? It's a struggle. But no, for real, that's how it happened, because we used to go back and forth like, oh, whoever can out rap each other or out rhyme each other, we get the last chicken nugget. So I was like, all right, bet, let's go. So eventually, you know, we kept doing it back and forth. Cat, hat, rat, bat, fat, gnat, whatever the hell. And then my brother was like, oh, you're getting too good at this. You're getting too nice. We can't play no more. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, no, we can't play no more. And I was like, all right, bet, you're a sore loser. And then they're like, yo, you should actually rap. And then my brother would start playing instrumentals. Shout out to Damon. He's not here. He's here, but he's not in the room. he started playing instrumentals. I started rapping to it, and then eventually I started being able to, just catch that rhythm, going along with it. And I was like, okay. And at first I was just like, I'm just having fun with it. It was fun. And then eventually, after a while, when I was like, I think 11, 12, that's when I started to actually write some stuff. And I was like, okay, let me see what I could, do. If I could, think in my head, think about the lyrics and see what I could, come together with, right? Because before I would just freestyle. I mean, I still kind of freestyle, but I don't do it as much. I'm more so songwrite now. So, but yeah, at that time I was just freestyling, and then eventually I started to, write. And of course, practice, will make perfect, or at least somewhat form of it. So I kept writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. And at first it was really cringy. I was like, oh my God, what am I saying? Like, what am I writing? This sounds like cheeks galore. Okay?
And that's the Virgo in her.
It sounded like really like mean, green, butt cheeks. That's what it sounded like. It sounded real nasty. And I was like, man, what is this? I almost threw my stuff in the garbage. I actually lost some of my lyrics. That's nor here nor there. But yes, I kept writing, got better at it. And then I got to the producing. Producing, that was more so done out of necessity than want. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, I'm not about to drop $50 for a beat. You would have thought. So shout out to my cousin Sade. She hooked me up and she got me a keyboard, a producing keyboard with drum pads and stuff like that. So I used that. And also, she got me a guitar. And my brother David got me a guitar too. David, I'm not going to leave you out. And then I bought myself an electric guitar and a bass. And I was like, I bet. Of course, that was all in steps. I didn't just go to the store and be like, all right, bet you gotta grab everything and just start buying up a whole bunch of instruments. That would be mad. It was one by one, and I had to teach myself how to play the guitar. I was like, all right, bet we gonna do this. Start learning how to play the guitar. So the production of the song, I did all of that, and the composing. That's all me. I didn't pay nobody. I didn't get it from nobody. The only thing I could say is that this song was inspired, or how the beat came to my mind, was by listening to Lupe Fiasco, Tokyo. If you listen to that song, you might hear the similar melodies in that to this song too. So that's where that idea came from, right? So what was that name? Right, I was talking about how I was destined to do this. Right, sure, and doing all the writing and stuff like that. Right. Okay, what was I saying? This is why you need a script, ladies and gentlemen, because you're gonna forget. I'm 19. Help me out.
Just flow.
Production crew.
It's dinner time.
All right, we almost done here. But yeah, the part I was at, some copy and paste, but fail to prevail because they technique is sloppy. Head out my way before you get bodied. So I'm saying there's some people, and I think every craft, every lane where, they pretend as if they know how to do it, but they just faking. And they don't actually know what they're doing. They're not really about it. Because some people just do it for, profit and bread, but they don't really care about the cause. So I think that goes for music. That goes for any field that you work in. Some people, they genuinely just don't care, and they're just doing it for whatever. So that's why I say some copy and paste, but fail to prevail because their technique is sloppy. And I say, head on my way, but before you get bodied, acting all la-di-da-di. La-di-da-di. Understand that I'm blindly driven with ambition, not hoping or waiting, but willing you to listen to these stories I paint as pretty pictures. Although painful, my brushes flourish with conviction. My canvas still not so bloody, the colors they're not so bleak. Slowly they've started running, so now I hope to be. That part. I say I'm blindly driven by ambition, meaning I'm not looking at nothing else. Not literally, but metaphorically, meaning I'm minding my business and I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not paying attention to what the person next to me or the other. Of course, competition, happens sometimes, but I'm not really a super, ego-driven person. I'm more so like, I'm gonna do my best for me, not my best for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So if I want to get better at something, I'm not doing it because somebody else is telling me, oh, you gotta get better, da-da-da-da. Of course, you can take criticism into account, but I'm more so focusing on what do I want to do. Because I'm competing essentially almost with myself, in a way.
Because that's the Virgo in her.
My mother says that's the Virgo in me. And she also gave birth to me. And she also raised me. So where does that energy come from?
What are you, a chicken?
Anyways. Anyways, like I was saying, God, what part of the lyrics I had? Outdoors and
That's
Big
okay. When you
motivation.
perform it live, people will hear it again.
Right, y'all gonna hear it. I gotta add the lyrics on Apple Music so that people can actually, read it as they go along, because I feel like that's a very essential part of it. And I don't want to leave y'all, hanging. So, yeah.
Yeah. Is a music video coming out?
Music video. Oh, music videos is a very, very. We might as well. I mean, how we gonna do it? We gotta wait until summer or spring. Like where stuff is more blossom now and stuff like that. It look too dry and barren right now. It look like I be on a war field or something. That's winter for you.
You're exaggerating.
Okay, it is an exaggeration. But
yes.
Okay, but everything looked dried up and ashy.
Okay.
I like this show. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
So you have so on YouTube, Cosmic Heart says she's proud of you. Emily stoked to hear this. She's from Australia. Emily says you're inspiring. Stephen is on. He says, "Hey Charlize girl. Hey Sharon girl. Hey Stephen. What's up? Lovely.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you all for supporting her.
Inspiring to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because my main goal, even though I do it through music, right? It's just one of the avenues of how I want to express, to motivate people or inspire people to, not focus too much on the negative or the bad thing that's going on, but also almost like, okay, here's negativity, but I'm going to give you some light within that so you don't feel just like, this is never ending. Where am I going to go? Oh, I'm lost. You know what I'm saying? Just a little something, especially for my generation, because I feel like my generation, not discriminating any other age, I think this applies to every generation of people. You know what I'm saying? But especially for my generation, I feel like there's a lack of motivation and just the will to do anything. Almost like they feel like, oh, what's the point? Everything's, going to hell. Like, what am I going to do? Oh, I'm just going to smoke a vape. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very low vibrational, if you want to call it that. So I'm like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to hear this. So what am I going to do? I'm going to contribute and see how I can change that. And also music.
Here.
What is going on?
He said, come on, baby. You better preach.
You itchy? It's leather pants. It's tight.
You mean pleather? No,
it made me sweat.
We still try to have a sense of humor.
I feel like Rick James.
Oh, stop.
She's exposing the back.
You shut behind the scenes.
Cut the lights.
Oh,
it's all good. So, encore.
You want to hear a preview of my song? I should have sent you.
Yeah, since you have some latecomers that came in.
Which one?
Actually, if you go on my YouTube, I don't know if you know my YouTube.
No, I don't.
It's Sanchild. It's mine. It's Sanchild. Because I have the instrumental on there. It's like 2 minutes, but that's the short blip I'm going to give y'all of the next song I'm dropping after this one. Okay? Yeah, you got to follow up with
what date?
With that Rise.
And
the
what
date, the date, just know it's February.
Okay.
Because I just have tiny little things to tweak, and then I'm going to submit it for it to go to the stores. Just tiny little bit of stuff to tweak. Because I be a little bit too fresh in this. Did it show up?
No. Maybe not to separate it. It's Sanchild on YouTube.
Yeah. If you filter out.
Oh, here it is. No, that's me.
I think if you filter it out.
What's the inspiration of this?
I don't I don't see it.
You don't see it? Let me see.
That's whack.
Mom, stop being. Don't be like that, okay? You don't get this started. Hold on. Type. Okay. Channel. I think we go channel. Wait. Oh, found it. Okay. Videos. All right. There it is. See what's it? Let's make sure it's not an ad. Oh, there's no ad. I don't even got monetization yet. I like you don't feel the need to fit in. Do you?
Just
great. Thank you.
I
will. Hey, relax. Stop exposing people.
What?
I like that you don't feel. Yep, I don't feel the need to, nah. And I learned that from my mother, my mama. Mommy, get in the frame. Come here, you beautiful woman. See, look at my mommy. She's so pretty. My mommy's so pretty. Okay. Alright, you ready?
Yep.
So this is gonna be a preview to the next song that's gonna drop. Gotta point at every camera. Okay, you ready? She had to hit the smoke
Yeah.
machine.
Uh-huh.
Whoa, that thing's strong. Turn it up.
Okay, book.
That's good, that's good. Okay. And you turn down one.
Oh, you look like you were smoking some shit.
Relax. I express, I'm just setting it straight. This the purest form of love, her names are written in fate. There ain't nothing else to say, but I love you. Whether you're running through my mind during days I'm caught in space, I could never find the courage to say this to your face. So I'm taking time to write this letter to you. Lord, just let me love you, and keep on loving you each night and day. Don't got okay, well let me love you, and keep on loving you each night and day. Okay, going now. Okay, let me walk it out. Okay. Couple of times I walked past you, but never was it a real issue until I heard you speak and heard you say my name. My heart starts pumping and tickles the button. Through my toes and my stomach is feeling real funny. You ain't even telling jokes, but you make it so hard to function. I was just so excited, I did not know what to say. These feelings start coming over me like the sun every ray hitting me straight in my eye. I'm blinded by your pretty smile, shining so bright. You're the only diamond I found in the rush. With my mind in the rough, held in space, I could never find the courage to say this face. But I'm taking time to write this letter to you. Boy, just let me love you, and keep on loving you each night and day. That's not your day. No more time to wait, so just let me love you, and show you love in plenty different ways. Yes. Dirty. Ooh, hey, hey. And that's just a preview for the next song. She
has played in Band's Moving Crew. You got another fan came on board.
Oh, hello
supporting
to
you.
everyone who's joining YouTube, Instagram. Thank you. Oh, I'm gonna shut my mic stand. Yes, that is the next song. That song is gonna be released, like I said, this month for Valentine's Day. For those who celebrate, got somebody, don't got somebody, single, pair, whoever.
Waiting on somebody.
Waiting on somebody. You waiting on somebody? Praise the name, Lord.
I don't think so.
I'm joking. But yeah, that song's gonna be released this month. And of course, you know who helped me write the song? I mean, not write. Well, technically, kind of, yeah. One of the contributors, Miss Sade Simone, like she goes by. Yes, that is my cousin. Yes, she goes by that. Yes. We was joking around making that song, so. Honestly, that's why most of my songs, I don't be like, it's not like, okay, I think really hard and then it comes to me. I mean, it's not like I think really hard to make a song, it just comes to me. That's why I always say, like, thank you to God, to Source, you know what I'm saying, to my mother for creating me and giving me life to be able to do what I do. You know what I'm saying? So, thank you, Mommy.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And praise all that be healthy. Praise all that be wealthy. Praise all that be alive. Praise all that speak life into this earth. It's not even Sunday, but I'm preaching. Okay. So guys, thank you for joining my live. Like I said, wherever you were, Instagram, YouTube. What is the other one? Instagram again.
YouTube.
YouTube and Instagram. Right. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Like I said, you're gonna hear from me. You're gonna hear from me. I'll be posting. I'm hoping to drop. Well, I'm willing to drop an album this year. Like I said, self-produced, self-composed. I mean, if somebody want to reach out and you want to collab, let's go. If you're serious about it.
Information.
If you're serious about it, let's go. We can do that. For real, for real. You know what I'm saying? If you want to, you got a camera, you want to record for the music video, because we don't got a camera.
We make it work.
But we'll make it work, right? We'll manifest that. We gonna make that happen. So, yes, until next time.
Tell them how to reach you.
Huh?
How can people reach
Oh,
you?
how can people reach me? My bad. How can people reach me? Instagram is charlize.green. If you go there, you'll probably see my contact information. My email, though, for professional purposes is charlizegreen03@gmail.com. Don't send me no spam. Don't do that. Please. Man, I want it. It's a clean email. I don't want nothing in my spam box. Don't do it. Okay? Simple. What else? I don't know if I'm trying to give people my phone number. If I know you, I know you. I mean, who wants random people blowing up their phone? Ain't nobody want that. Okay. If you email me and then there's a business relation, then you get the number. Okay? Because I don't got a business phone. It's my personal phone. Okay? What else? How else do people contact each other? Bird? You want to know about my owl? His name is Pal.
Oh my God.
I promise I'm not a comedian. I promise I'm not a comedian.
That's right. That's right. Blow that face.
I don't have a gong.
Oh man. What else? That's it, y'all. That's it. Nothing else to say. Nothing else.
Okay, well.
Like I said, you want to email me, contact me. That's all my information. Pure smoke. Pure smoke. Is this how we gonna go out? This how we gonna leave? I can't breathe. All right, y'all. Bye. From wherever you're from, wherever you are, wherever you are. I appreciate you guys. Anybody who's followed me, supported me on my musical journey, I really, truly, and honestly appreciate it. Y'all are definitely my motivation, because imagine if, you know what I'm saying, I was just speaking to the walls. That would be very unfortunate. But y'all are here to support me. So, and that's even the smallest thing you could do, like watching me do a whole bunch of madness on this live. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, have a good night. Eat some food. Is it past dinner time?
It's the next day.
Nobody cares.
Ooh.
We're on different
Drink
time
some water.
zones.
Hydration, good for the body. For the body. Drink your water. Eat your food.
She just guessed. She just
Drink your water, eat your food, eat your water, eat your food. What ya do? Just make sure you're hydrated too. Drink your water, eat your food. Numb it up, oh who. It tastes good. Eat in your
What
stomach.
child is this?
And like your child. You gave birth to this. Alright, y'all, bye.
Hello. Greetings. Anyway, how is everyone doing? I'm about to stop the live on Instagram.
How do you download the stuff again?
Just bear with me for a
I
moment.
Instagram.
I'm just trying to get everything. Oh, you follow her on Amazon Music? Okay. I don't follow her on Amazon Music. I'm glad you found her.
My music was on Amazon Music.
Now you know. Steven just said you're on Amazon Music.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Maybe I selected, because I told you, I selected a lot of platforms to put my music on, but like I forgot, because I forgot which ones I selected. It was a whole bunch. There's like some African streaming sites. I think also Claro Musica also. I'm pretty sure I selected. So it's like on a lot of different platforms.
How is everyone being going? A lot has changed on YouTube, that's for sure. Ooh. Bear with me one moment. Un momento. I'm gonna take you. Whoever has remained behind. You're in for a little tiny treat. Tiny, tiny treat. I'm gonna make my way up to my turn. I know you miss me. I know I miss you. I felt everybody's energy. You know I'm going through a nodal return. A lot of, when I say a lot of changes, I can't describe it to you. Like I'm going through physiological changes. My mental capacity is great. That's still wonderful. Still tapping in, still picking up on energy. Okay, we're gonna go into a little bit of dark and then we're gonna go into some light. Oh my gosh. So many messages, so much downloads, changes and more messages. So tell me what's going on in your realities. Whoever is left, what's going on in your realities? I've been so busy. Organizing the full moon, this full moon in Leo. Man, I've been sleeping for 16 hours. Sometimes my sleep patterns are like way all over the place too, you know. That's another thing that I've been experiencing. Having to go through so much transformation. I'm trying to get my music because I have to have a little music in the background. Quantum changes indeed. I've been just internalizing, you know, having to internalize a lot of things, spending time with myself, getting to reacquaint myself. Yep. All of that stuff. Give me one moment. Oh, wait. 11:11. Haha. See that? 11:11. Yep. So I'm going through a nodal return. I'm also going through Saturn return. Yep. And I'm also having my solar return this Friday. So so you talk about process. Oh my gosh. Processing and processing and processing and processing. So much things having to be released, all of the, you know, stuff that I have predicted and felt, you know, has been happening everywhere. You know, we can't run away from anything. We have to just keep facing it and pushing through it. You know. Oh, okay, I'm trying to put the phone. Gosh, okay, I think I got it. Yep, I got it. I'm hands-free at last. Yeah, so it has been quite a few months for me. Every time I think I'm going to be able to come on and talk about some stuff, it just doesn't happen. So I just go with the flow, you know. So it's like I'll be sleeping for 5 hours, different times of the day, and, you know, all of that stuff. And it's like sometimes I feel like I anticipate, knowing that because of the time that we're in, because we are in the apocalypse. It is an apocalyptic time frame. So, and it's refreshing to know that Charlize is doing her thing. She's following her path. Everything she's doing, it's not because I'm saying, hey, Charlize, go do it. No, everything just moving in the cycle that it is meant to. And, you know, it's like, if you're at a point where you're not tuning in and tapping into your inner, then it's like you just get lost in the sauce, so to speak, you know, like truly and having to work through all of the ancestral stuff. That's another thing. A lot of ancestral transformation has been happening. The data uploads, downloads that has been coming through on the planet. I mean, there's no way, unless you're not real, that you can't feel all of this energy pulsating on the planet, because it's a lot of energy that's coming in. Like I feel it every day. I'm feeling all this stuff coming through everywhere, you know, and And then it's like I have to just like keep accepting and just like, oh, I guess this is gonna happen here today, and this is gonna come back over here again, and that's what it feels like. It goes beyond being feeling like you're in a washing machine or something like that. You know what I mean? Can't even find the words. Sometimes I can't even find the words to say something like that too. Mm-hmm. And people that are going to continuously be transitioning off the planet is also something that has to come into a greater acceptance, you know. And some people might not be ready to be prepared for more things that are to come, but it's like everything is to be fulfilled. That's all I know. Everything's going to be fulfilled. And one of the realizations that I've come to continuously nonstop is these new earth energies is a representation of everything that we let go of, like everything we've been taught, everything that had existed in the old world is going away. It's just washing away. It's just like going through a washing machine, and it's just gonna continue on and on and on. I mean, literally, even this week, if you could see, it was this week, no, a few days ago, I I went to, it was last week, no, it was Thursday. I was sitting in the chair getting my hair done, and then all of a sudden my eye just got bloodshot red, and I was like, what the heck is this? You know, where's this coming from? It's not like I coughed or sneezed or anything like that. And it's like everything, our bodies are going to be going through more transformations of things that have to be released from a cellular level. And as you go through each point of whatever has to be released or whatever you've been connected to, it's going to show up in some part of your body. And everything for me has been the right side of my body, from the head, eye, shoulder pain, knee, everything, everything. That's how it has been. So it's important to just keep paying attention to your surroundings, paying attention to, again, the lands that you live on, where you're located, because there's so much that a lot of the ancestors are back. And it's like anything that has not been balanced or rectified is going to get turned over. It's going to either burn down or destroy. I'm not saying everywhere, but different pockets of energy that's flowing through the earth is going to keep transforming and transforming. And just, it's like this is, and it's increasing and increasing. You know, because even this morning, or I should say this afternoon, I saw there was another earthquake in Turkey again. Another earthquake. And interestingly, I have done a different, what do you call it? Genetic testing from CRI Genetics, more detailed. And everything that showed the migration in my ancestry on my mother's father's side, I just recently discovered that everything was everything that happened during the time of when there was a lot of traveling going on. And the connectivity to my grandfather and everything that went from one region to the next. And there was a lot of traveling that happened, a lot of traveling. So we have to think about, and this is the test that takes you back 72,000 years in your ancestry. I've done the mitochondrial side and the paternal side, and both linked my families to the beginning, like 200 AD practically, in Kenya. And then the end part of it was Russia. I was floored. Charlize and I were floored when that part showed up, because it actually showed the map of all the traveling. And the reason I'm sharing that with you is that it's so essential to keep digging into whatever you can find out from your living relatives or anyone that you have contact, because every piece of information that you can get to put peace, because my father had hardly had any information he could share, because these are not the things that are discussed, or you didn't think about those things to discuss, you know, to ask questions about things to do with your ancestry. And so it's imperative to know, because we're closing out so many cycles of things that have been experienced. Of course, you know, lands that have been revamped. Of course, the names have been changed. Everything has been just done over and transformed. And so whatever you're walking with daily, or whatever you're having to, is everything that your ancestors have experienced. It's not necessarily the negative things that was pulled you down, but also the parts that is positive, the parts where the gifts and all of the parts of you that have been suppressed, and where they have been suppressed, your divinity, everything that's coming through with how we are coming into more of our I forgot that word, the crystalline state of our bodies. And so because of the plasma that's coming through, because I already had another dream to do with the plasma event. I sure did. Charlize had a dream to do with it too. And it's like everything just changed. It's like we've been doing our own gardening, stocking up on things, but not really in the sense where over the top or anything like that, but just being prepared. And also I got my walkie talkies, like get your walkie talkies if you're in the position to do that, just to be prepared, because the system is it's gonna go down. It's gonna go down in the sense before it comes back up again, and it may be for a very good while. I already had, I kept getting visions and seeing like it could last for 3 months. And I'm talking about where there's no phone service, no internet service, because even was yesterday, I went somewhere and the guy said to me, oh, the machine is not working to charge anything with a card. And then I went to another place, the same thing. So I was like, I said, wait a minute. So I said, these things it's already starting to present itself, where a lot of electronical things will start to conk out. A lot of things will not work. And, even if you drive a car, make sure you always have gas in the car, whatever. If you have electrical car, you will be screwed. It's already starting to happen anyway. I heard a lot of these Tesla cars have been going haywire and stuff like that. And really, and preparing your bodies too. And to really, as much go into fasting modes, to detox your bodies. Pay attention to the ingredients of what you eat, what you're taking in, with what you eat. It's a lot of stuff that I have uncovered and unlocked, when it comes to so much things that we have been poisoned in the mind and our bodies, and how it eventually it will catch up to you and it starts to affect you. And everything has been to dumb down our bodies and to dumb down our minds and to control. And so we're coming out of these cycles where they can't control us anymore. And the closer we get to Pluto going into Aquarius, is the more things are going to be blasting through. And so many of us are having to be prepared with ourselves with what's coming, because we're the ones that are going to start over on these lands. So you could be guided to go to another land and another region. Follow that inner guidance where you're to be. We could be standing here and the ground is solid, and then another area right across from you is just falling apart, flooding, sinkholes. It's like you're not necessarily going to know, but you're going to feel when there's something that could be coming. So just be prepared for wherever and however, no matter where you are. So, but I know that there is certain areas that are going to be just completely obliterated, or things just split off, and there's certain regions where there's going to be earthquakes that has never occurred before, and or mudslides or stuff like that. The temperatures here in New York have been fluctuating a lot. Like this week, today and yesterday, it went up into the 50s and 60s. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, these past few days was 0 and minus below 0. And I literally was looking at the on my phone when it showed the temperature going up and down. And I said, look at this here. And I said, it went to minus something, then it went to 0. And then I heard Spirit say, what do you think this means? And I said, wow, that 0 is just like when something is resetting, something is shifting into another aspect, another polarity of things that are occurring, because the earth itself is moving through its cycle of how it was before, but it's going to show up in a different way though. You know what I mean? And that includes things to do with the weather. It has to do with the lands itself, the people, There's certain bloodlines that are just not going to exist anymore too as well. Certain bloodlines are out of here. So all the games and stuff that's being played with government and all these other systems, it is disintegrating. And I just watch what they call the shit show. That's what I do. I just watch. I just keep observing, and I'm like, oh, okay. And just remember, one of the things I always say is that in everything that occurs, it's going to show up on one side of that spectrum, and then it has to balance itself out on the other. So there is no running from this. We can't run from anything, because everything is always going to represent the opposite and also what is connecting to it. And even the ones that are bots, or what you call them, they're NPCs or programmable characters, they serve their purpose too. Everything serves its purpose. And all I know is that the divine continues to show me, and how Mother has been coming through more and more each day, that feminine essence is coming through. And even though when I predicted and I said something's going to happen to the so-called government here in the States, and that things are going to be put in place for a female to come into power, I still feel that's going to happen. It may not have been the right timing, but I still feel that's going to happen. And the reason is that's going to happen is because we're still going to be approaching and having to deal with the Kali Ma, the Kali energy, the essence of the Lilith, okay? That darker side of the feminine, in how things come back into order, because everything to who she is and what is represented as her must be addressed. And it includes anyone who's connected to their own traumas, connected to the Dark Mother, connected to things that are continuously emotionally detached between you and that energy of what mother is, okay? The representation of the feminine energy, because everything has to go back to the basic of how things began. And so regardless of what name it's called or how it came about with each name, it represents the energy. It's the energy of mother, and the mother principle, the feminine principle, and the masculine principle, and the father principle, as you call it, the child. Everything is still coming into its integration, while the other parts of self is breaking apart, falling apart, as you call it. And you're going to notice that more people are more likely going to continue to have mental breakdowns, mental disorders, fear, panicking, suicidal, more breakups in relationships. And in the meantime, there's also rebuilding. There's also things are being rediscovered with each individual, because no matter what happens, everyone has to go through their own cycle of their purpose, their own time of what they rediscover about themselves and what you get to know about yourself. Reestablish your relationship with your body. Your body is the most important vessel right now. The most important, it's of great value more than anything else, because your body is going to be connecting to all of the communication that's coming through from the Godhead, okay? From your mind to your heart, okay? The wisdom that is being applied through the knowledge. If you've been spending more time with the books, as I said, don't forget to come back into your heart, because that's the greater balance. A lot of information and data is going to start disappearing. You might start feeling like you're not having as much memory of certain things because you're going through that rewrite. And the rewrite includes all of the things that you have to let go of, all the things that you've been taught, programmed. Remember, some of the programming is subconscious programming. It means that you're acting out things that you don't even realize, because that's what you've been used to doing and being. And some of it has been passed on to you from your mother, your mother's mother, your mother's mother's mother, the father's side. It's all of this. So that's why it's important to be in greater awareness and observation of self. Be aware of yourself. Listen more than ever to the communication you're receiving with your body, because your body is going to give you the messages. You're going to hear the messages. You're going to feel the messages. You're going to find yourself, maybe you have all of a sudden different what do you call it, marks show up, or you might have skin, like I had like itching on the skin sometimes, then it goes away. You know, you might find yourself sleeping and sleeping and sleeping because your body's recharging. You're in the astral planes. You're revisiting certain things. You might not remember your dreams, and then you might have dreams that you do remember. There might be familiar faces. There might be different people that you've never seen before in your dream state, but then that spirit feels familiar to you because you're still going back into your past lives, because we're closing out cycles again. We're closing out different cycles, especially where Pluto in Capricorn has been, because remember that we're at the tail end of that and how much degrees it is right now. And so, you know, and the closer we get to Pluto in Aquarius, again, you're going to find yourself where things are just out of order. You know, where Uranus comes in and it's shifted again and changed again, and there's a surprise here, a disappointment here, and then all of a sudden you feel wonderful with something else that comes in as a different type of surprise. So it's like you're being prepared to be used to not having things fixed and stable, but at the same time, it's a part of the process of all of the transformation that you're having to go through with yourself and your family. Okay, you're not here to save anyone. You are here to keep embodying what the true authentic essence of who you are. That's what's imperative to remember every single day. Keep remembering that for yourself, so you don't find yourself feeling guilty about what may be happening in somebody else's reality, because we're having to go through this process like where Leo is, where you're focused on yourself and where you are in what you have always had to take care of, and how it makes you feel good inside because you helped to take care of this one and that one. But now you have to preserve that, and you have to focus on you while you're still connected to that collective part of what connects you with your family, friends, acquaintances, you know, business partnerships, all of that stuff. So a lot of you are going to be changing partnerships in whether business or professional or personal. And so it's being able to adapt to these type of changes that are coming. And it is going to feel uncomfortable, and it's going to feel scary at times because there is so much unknown energy. But at the same time, when you know and feel in your heart that you're being guided, trust that. Trust it, everything. Trust is not going to come because you're going to find it validated in a book. It's not going to be validated on TV. It's not going to be validated on the internet. It's not going to be validated online or any type of social media. It's going to be validated because it feels right. It feels right within you. That's the highest connection and connectivity you're going to have. And it's not to say that you don't talk about it with someone else, because you're going to be led to or connecting to someone who's going to talk or probably have the same, how do I say it, having the same type of messages that they're receiving, or they're also going to be connecting on a higher level just like you are. And you're going to be getting sort of like a confirmation that flows through you that shows up in your outer reality. And so as everything is transcending from the spiritual realm to the physical realm, it's like your higher self is moving even closer, if it hasn't already, where you're just trusting what is coming from within you, because you are who you are within yourself and outside of yourself, because it's all showing up in the outer and the inner. And just to keep observing that and trusting that part of you, and knowing that it's here, it's happening. You volunteered to come in this time frame, this timeline, for everything that's unfolding. And I know that the things that are happening in other countries, it's going to happen here too. It's already started, but it's going to amp up some more because the US is going through its Pluto return as well. And everything that has happened, it has to, the scales have to tip onto the other side. Whatever is affected here is also going to be affected in other countries. And remember that everything was all one region. So even though it would look like it's separated, you know, from one country, state, county, whatever you want to call it, it's still one region. Because the mere fact that the test that I took the final test. I haven't gotten the results from my father's side yet. And everything points to being in America, South America, connected to being Mexican, like I always felt, China, also found Japanese in my lineage as well. So it's like everything still connects from the Moors to even before the Moors. Everything links together. Everything comes together. You see? And so if you find yourself feeling like, well, am I over here, am I over there? You're everywhere. All these multi-dimensional parts of you is going to continue to unravel. It's going to show up in front of you. You're going to feel, you're going to know, you're going to feel like you're having multiple personalities, if anything. I went through all those stages already for myself. I sure did. I remember I was having all these memories coming back. I was singing opera, I was ballet dancing, all that stuff I was doing. I remember. And I was like, oh, wow, and I just looked at it in a fascinating way. So these are the parts of yourself that's going to continue to reflect all of you and who you are. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks or what they choose to accept, or it's about what you accept for yourself. And that even if there are certain things that you may have participated in, or you were involved in, or you thought this way, that it may change, and it more than likely will change. Okay, the stories that we carried before and we replace them in the Akashic records is it might just stay there permanently. So we're only gonna take bits and pieces of each things as we go along. So all I know I hear Spirit saying is just be prepared for the things that are going to be just shifting and absent. I mean, I know it's been said by many people before, on other platforms when they talk about, oh, we're going through changes, but this is what I'm talking about, where you're going to physically see the change that aligns from what you know within your spirit. Okay. And where it is necessary to happen, because we have to be able to I would say be on the same wavelength with what's happening on earth and how it all aligns. Okay. And it's not shown to me where it's like a suffering or anything like that. As long as you allow yourself to stay connected, again, staying connected to source, paying attention to the signs, the messages, what you hear. It's not the audible hearing, it's the spiritual hearing. And as long as you are staying focused on that, you will be fine. You will be fine. Okay, because that is a part of the preparation of these times. Everything that has been written to what to be prepared for, and that we're ushering in the beauty of what New Earth represents, where all of the other stuff that does not belong here is finally leaving. And so this is what it takes. I think it is highly preposterous that some people get upset whenever something's spoken to what has to leave, because they think that it's okay to get you to still stay used to the stuff that we used to do. Like just the idea of getting up and going to work and all the things that involves how we have been taught and have been living our lives. It's not going to be that way. It's like Spirit showed me every single day how much of these changes are coming. I don't know if anybody has been watching, like The Last of Us, like I've been watching that show, or a movie, or whatever the show. And it kind of gives a snippet of how some of us are going to be starting things really anew. And it's important to stay focused on where we're taking things with our children, and how, again, we're still healing our bodies at the same time. And that the direction that you're receiving is not going to come from a leadership out there. It's not going to come from that. It's going to come from within, from connecting to source and what feels right, and bringing the tribes together. Similarly to the way how it used to be. We just have to keep weeding out the ones who did not serve a highest purpose for us, and the ones who decided to play role of control and all these things. And this is how those ages of what existed before is just dissipating, and it's just going away. And of course, they don't want to leave here very, I would say in an easy way, but they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. And no matter how many times I've seen and I've witnessed how they change the names and the labels and everything like that to keep manipulating and things, and I see right through it. And it's sad to know that there are people that are still falling for it, and things that's wrapped up in the spiritual community, things that are names that are used, in terms of twin flame, and the disrespect that I see towards what the path is and stuff like that, and people who pretend and act like as if they're on this journey when all it is, it's like something to lure anyone to come off their path if they allow themselves to be duped into it, because that's where it comes from, and it's not any judgment with it, but it can happen. But it happens because sometimes it depends on if that individual is not healing and if they're not facing the truth about themselves. And so it's easy to get lured right back into that darkness and right back into the manipulation, and of course, on the other side of the spectrum is that there are entities out there, big time entities, okay, because the veil is so thin, that do not want the pairs to come together, because because it represents the obliteration of their existence, just like that last Matrix movie with Trinity and Neo. And I was talking to someone about that today. As soon as they touched each other's fingers, it blasted them out of that reality. So it's so important to keep going within to do with your healing, and going within to do it what is transforming again, and that you keep your mind clear and really continue to connect with nature, to keep taking your seesaw baths. If you can do periodic intermittent fasting, because that also helps to set your body back into what do you call it, autophagy. And what you're doing is you're healing the mitochondrial DNA and the cells of your body. And what it does, it continues to activate the true DNA codes that are within you, that connects to from the time you were created. And again, it's a process, because everything is moving through quickly with all of this, from a cellular level and a mitochondrial level. And I did leave a playlist on, I think it was one of my videos or lives that I did, with a playlist of the different types of fasting and the different methods of fasting. There's something else that I'm also doing right now. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it, but I'm doing this right now that also assists with the repair of the mitochondrial DNA, which is red light therapy. And it's also very healing for the body on so many levels, your skin, everything. And it's like taking the time to reacquaint yourself with who you are and what's important for your body. That's why I realized where the Uranus in Virgo for me, I believe it's in the 10th house, is where I know I'm supposed to talk about health. Because when you're healthy and things are moving in that healthy way with, not only just what you eat, but again, it's what you take in in your energy field, including people you talk to, people you work with, who you live with, okay? All of that is very important in this time, okay? In this time, because there may be moments where your body is going to reject food, and it's going to reject certain things. So you get your body used to, what if I don't get to eat one day? What if, just saying, what if? Okay, just being prepared, just like how it used to be before, where our bodies start to take on a concept of where the density starts to shift, because this is how we're moving in that cycle of becoming crystalline, where we won't have to eat anymore. And then, we're in the process where we're just drinking water, and then eventually no water. Okay. And so you have to listen again to your body and what it tells you, in terms of, at the time, should I eat this or what if I'm lacking in this? This is where the balance comes in, to keep track of yourself and listen to everything that you're being guided to with that, because this is also playing a process with your ascension. Very important process for your ascension. So, that's some of the highlights, as I was saying, to what's going on in my reality. And just trying to get certain things out the way before I can really, how do I say, focus, focus on how much I can present myself back in, how do I say, social media reality, if that's the word to speak. So, But it's been a ride for me. Oh man, has it been a ride for me? It has been a ride and a half. Okay, and then some. And it feels good to be at peace. It feels good to be at peace. And the reason I say that because I find myself being even more detached from things that I see and things that I hear. And even if I get, I feel sad about certain things, I know that it has to take place. It is a part of the process. And, some people might look at things where, oh, let's pray over this and let's do this. But those things are not, I'm not saying it doesn't work. All I'm saying is that's a part of the programming that also existed why things haven't changed, because we're the ones that bring the change. We're the ones that make the breakthroughs for how the change can happen, and that means that we're not repeating the same patterns that we did before. So every time you find yourself doing something and you realize, hey, I did that before, then that means that that's your cue that there's a pattern for you to change. There's a pattern for you to break. There's a pattern for you to transform. So that way something else is also shifting in your reality. And then it really starts to look like how it looked, with Marvel Comics, with the Marvel series, with Doctor Strange, and these are the things that we were shut off from accepting the power and the magic that we really are. And that everything we create without doing anything, because it's a part of us that's automatic. But it's not going to come on automatic as long as we're still attached to the worldly things. And when I say worldly things, I'm not talking about not having, physical things. I'm talking about the things that have been created with that system that also plays a part with what has been created when it comes to religion, when it comes to someone who's in control, in the government system and all these different aspects. And as long as they're dictating what we eat, where we go, who we are, where we can travel to, you got to take this, you got to do that. It's like everything is so jumbled up, and you don't even realize how toxic it has been throughout generation after generation. And we've dumbed ourselves down so much, and some have not been able to just get out of it, like to really, really get out of it. And when you realize that more and more each day, like literally more and more each day, it doesn't even affect you as such. And you don't have to think about it. You don't have to, because it's like your body, your mind becomes a shield, and you're not going to find yourself repeating the same things that you have noticed yourself doing before, or your parents or your parents' parents or whoever, you know what I mean, or anybody around you. It starts to change. It starts to reflect itself in a different way. And the more that many of us are doing the same things, because I know that there's more of us that is unplugging, and again, the key, one of the keys, I'm not going to say the only key, is the message, and not necessarily how you receive the message. Because this is why so many of our I would say those who were before us or after us, however you say it, missed the messages because they were too busy looking one way for the message. And so the message is, again, listen to your spirit, your higher self, the connectivity to source, because the message may come in a way that you are totally unexpected, totally unexpected. So these are the most important things in these times right now, as we're preparing for what's coming up in this time frame this year, this Gregorian calendar year, and the subsequent months to come. Eclipses that are coming up too as well. What else again? I believe there's supposed to be the equinox, right? We have the equinox that's coming up in March, I believe, right? The equinox. And that's another significant time frame as well. So, just thought I would just at least, after Charlize did her little thing, if you missed her singing and stuff like that, you can always go back on the rewind on this. And I will leave some more links to the fasting, and also there was something else I know I wanted to mention. I have gotten some more books and stuff like that, but I'll share that next time, because it's been, even though I don't read the books, but I have the books that I get just in case there's something that Spirit says I'm to refer to, whatever is happening right now, because it's like so much information, but at the same time it's all within you. The information is within you. So a lot of times if I do get a book, it's like I'm skimming through it, because I know there's something in that information that I know I'm meant to connect the dots, because that's what I do. That's where the Aquarius in me comes out. I'm connecting the dots to everything, because without having it validated or anything like that, because once I receive it within me, and then it shows up in the book, and I'm in the book or something on a particular page, and I'm like, oh wow, that's really fascinating. I mean, I even have some books that I was able to get without purchasing it, because they're not even available for purchase, because there's certain information they just don't want it out there, because it's going to awaken. But there's nothing that can be stopped, because it's ongoing. And those who know will know, those who are chosen, because some of you are chosen from within your genetic line. That's what it means by chosen, because it's a tribal chosen. When I say tribal, meaning that you could be in one region, somewhere in another country, and you're chosen for that particular region and that particular tribe, and that tribe itself has a particular code, and that sequence code connects to this part or this other region, and all of these different codes that come together, it's what's creating this new reality that the other side is not happy about. And that's the reason why you're going to start feeling it more and more right in your solar plexus. You're going to feel it in your feet, and you already know already with the grounding. I've even had to get some more what do you call it, stones and citron, a lot of citron stuff I've been getting, even in the bath. And just today I even got my citron waist beads, okay? And I got to leave it out in the sun before I put it on, so I can bless it and put it around my womb and my waistline. But it's like all these different mythologies. Again, that's outer, but it still balances everything within me with the inner as well. And that's the key, is always doing both sides. I've had connectivity coming through with Oshun and Chango, and it's like everything all at one time. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just find myself just going on and on and on. And it's because, again, all these cycles of our connection to mother and who she is and what she represents, and how she's protective over her children, okay? And how she's bringing the elements of the twin pairs together, and how she's bringing together all of the things that is what we call our blessings, okay? Because even that is happening at the same time. And even if whatever you're receiving, do not feel guilty about what you're receiving in terms of your blessings. If it looks like in someone else's reality that it doesn't look like that, you too have had to go through your initiations, okay? So some of us are going through initiations. Some are just having to come off the planet. Some are having to be pulled away because they have to finally face, their reality. So, remember, everything, the earth itself, the cosmic mother, is doing whatever it needs to be done. Whatever needs to be done to clear things out the way. And that's why it's important to still stay detached and aware. Aware, but detached. Aware, but detached, okay? Everything that could be inconceivable is still moving its way into time and space. Whether you're sleeping or awake, whether you're physically sleeping or whether your eyes are open, or whether you're sleeping where you're acting like nothing's going on, because you still got to be aware that things are still going on. because there's some people that don't even want to accept that there are things going on, and that's their reality. That's their journey. That's their path. Okay. Don't hold yourself back because someone else is not catching up with you, because that's not important. That's not, stay in your own lane. Like I always say, stay in your own lane. Very, very important. So one of the books that I got is, I don't know if you can see it, but I'll try without dropping the phone, is it Cuneiform Parallels of the Old Testament. That's one of the books that I got. And, oh, wait a minute. It has to do with the Adaba, something like that. That's one of the books that I got. And then another one to do with the beginning of time also. Again, just for me to have information to refer to. And also, I got it too because I said, well, since at some point when things start to happen, we may not really have that much of what you call it, entertainment. So that's probably the time that I probably would be taken to read a book of some sort. if that's what it takes, you know, because I just find myself at a point where I don't even get that excited about reading, you know, I don't get that excited about reading books, because the last time I read a book was before Damon was born. Damon turned 25 in November. That's how long I haven't literally sat down and said, gee whiz, I'm going to read a book today and I'm going to read it from beginning to end. No, I don't think so. I have more things to do. So I rather listen to audio because it's, you know, faster for me. It's faster for me, number one. And two, I absorb and take in information much more quicker, because when I'm reading the book, I have to keep going back over and reading it, and it's like I'm interpreting it in my own way. So that's why I say when it comes to books, remember, you're going to be interpreting things according to what the author is saying based on their own experiences. So I'm not downplaying anybody who's an author. I'm just saying, you know. So that's why I choose. And another thing too I've been doing is I've been working on photos that I had from when Charlize was a baby. Okay, and you heard she said she's 19 now. I had photos that I had not developed from when she was born up to when she was christened, and I had a whole bunch of rolls of film in a bag, and those rolls of film were not developed. And then I had pictures in envelopes from when they were developed but not put in albums, and it was all scattered everywhere. And so I finally had the opportunity where I said, I'm going to get those film developed. I don't know what was going to be developed properly or not. And so what it did was it forced me to have to review. I had to go through another life review. I had to go through all the memories of myself from when I was a baby, before my mother got here. When my mother got here to the States, and when she brought me as a baby, and all those years I went through from 70s, 60s, 80s, 90s. By the time I had my first child, and then you know, when my mother passed away and the funeral and this, and so when I say memories were flooding, and it's like, this is what spirit will do. It's like you will find yourself doing things and you're thinking one way while you're doing it, and then what it's doing is doing something else. So I literally went through and put together so far, like a project, a total of about 15 albums, pages and pages of photos. And some of them were great memories and some were sad. And this is a part of the cycle of life. And then when I think about, you know, if any of you can remember and think about the last time when you go to all these parties and all these functions, and it's like a lot of these things are not going to happen the same way before. I'm not saying we're not going to have functions. All I'm saying is the people that you were connected to and who you were connected to is still technically was a part of your soul family, but still we're going through a transformation of who we're connecting to. So we're now going to be rebuilding our connections and rebuilding and creating new timelines, not timelines where we're stuck in any type of trauma, but this is where things are new in how we relate to each other. And you can remember, I'm sure, like any friendships you had, and you're like, man, this nigga ain't real, or this one don't even, you know, pretending, or, you know, at the time when you took the photo, you thought that you were really close to this other person, and da da da, and it really wasn't that way. But that time, we all used to just be walking around pretending like everything's cool, or we just gonna bypass it and just move forward. But we can't. We gotta literally face every part, no stone left unturned, to where we have been in certain emotions, so that way we're not repeating the patterns where we're stuck in that emotion because another reality occurs right in front of us, and then we're stuck. You know what I mean? So I'm still working on the photos. I had to pause a little bit because I had other things to do, and it's been a ride. It's been fascinating because I was also able to share with my children certain things that I remembered, and my memory is in great tact of what I experienced, you know, seeing the younger version of myself and how I was thinking, and, you know, what I was doing, how I was dressed. And I was like, dang, I was like, Sharon didn't change with this at all. You know, still got my earrings going on. I still had all these different hairstyles, you know, different color. And it's just when you see yourself and you see, I don't want to say growth, but more how we become more evolved with self. And the key with that part is acceptance of every part of who you have been then and now, because you're still that individual then and now, you see. And the way that you think and how you process is different from then and now, right? And some things may have left you and some things may have not. And there could have been things that we could have said to someone, and maybe you feel maybe it's too late, or that, but it's not too late, because spirit is always connected. We're always connected, always connected. We have never been disconnected. That was just the illusion that was created for us to feel like we're alone with everything, and um you know, we just go day to day and we're not able to be in our full expression and what we may have wanted to be with someone, or how, you know, how anything has transpired between you and whatever relationship that this has been, you know, whether it's your mother, your father, or anyone else. And I tell you, there's not one soul that I have not come into contact with that has not had something that they have had to deal with. And the beautiful thing about now is that more and more we're able to open ourselves up to how we feel without judgment, but observation. Now, there are some things that are being judged because we are in judgment too. That's a different type of judgment. You know, there is judgment upon those on these lands and where things had not been done in the highest expression of love for our ancestors, you see. And it's just not going to go away just like that. So there are consequences that are going to have to be paid in energy, whether it's through a lineage or whomever, for what is occurring and what is to come. And these are the things that we have to accept and face. And in the meantime, as we're going through the repairing of our bodies, the DNA structure, the mind, especially the heart, where the heart has felt pulled and felt rejected, where the heart has felt abandoned, where the heart has felt alone, where the heart has felt betrayed, all these different factions, okay, is where we're moving through these cycles of transformation, to be able to feel that vulnerability again, to be ourselves completely, like completely be ourselves, you know. Is one of the things I've said to someone today too. I told him, I said, no matter what, I have always had the gift to be able to talk with others and to let them feel comfortable to be themselves, to express themselves. Even if at that point it's something that did not feel right to me, it was not my place to tell them that, because we want to be able to feel comfortable to be ourselves and to be in that expression, because the time will come where they will change their mind and they're going to express themselves the way that they truly wanted to. That at the moment, wherever or whatever purpose they serve for themselves and who they were then, they will eventually see it for themselves and make a new choice. And so we have to realize too that a lot of times there are things that influence our choices, things that have been pushed onto us, beaten into us, programmed into us. And it takes courage to really speak up, or even if it doesn't involve speaking up, but just to really say, fuck this shit. I'm not doing this again. I'm not going to be that girl, or I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be that individual. And even if it means that something is left unspoken, that's the change right there. And if it's something you feel to be spoken, then speak it. You know what I mean? But just always remember where your energy is being placed, because sometimes some things you may have to blurt it out because that's where the transformation occurs. It's cutting through something. It's energy. And then sometimes it may be done silently. You see? So go with that gut feeling with that. Go with that gut feeling with that. And if you feel you don't know which road to take with it, do nothing at all and wait. And wait. But you will be guided and you will be led to what comes next. You will be. So, that's important. That's important. So I look at it again that we're like at an amusement park and we're getting ready to go on so many different rides. And we know we're going to make it out alive. Either way, we're going to make it out alive. We're going to make it through. We're going to make it through this. We're going to get through this. Okay. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through this next stage of our soul evolution. And not just the individuality of it, but the collective aspect of it, okay? And what humanity was meant to be. The sadness that you felt, why you're here. Why should we have to keep going through this? When is this ever going to come to an end? How is this going to unfold? How is this going to look? And we don't have to worry about the ins and outs with that, because that's where source comes in, okay? It's like a whisper. You close your eyes and you can feel Mother and Father God right there within you, and the power that comes with that, okay? And there's no favoritism with it, okay? There's no favoritism. And when you know yourself in that connection, you will also know yourself in that connection with others. And that's where we join forces together. That's where the unity comes in. That's where the true unity comes in. You see? And that's where the power comes in that unity. We won't have to face all of the different calamities and things that's happened where we've had to kill each other or hide behind and, send little messages with birds or however we had to, because of these different types of things that occurred in the past where we just keep reincarnating over and over and over again, you see? Because those cycles are coming to its closure, and the true energy of the golden age and the golden time is truly being in blissfulness. All I know is the memo that I received for myself, the memo that I received for what I see in others and what's coming is total blissfulness. I remember what it is like. I know what it is like. And everything that to how things look in, with my physical eyes in this reality is beauty. And so that beauty itself is not necessarily beauty where it looks beautiful to me, but it doesn't look to you. No, this is where we all feel that beauty, because we're feeling it in our hearts, and it's also showing in the outer aspect where everything's flourishing, everything is in abundance. How many of you on here are at the point where you just want to get up and feel free, where you don't have an appointment to go to, you don't have to cook? I mean, you cook if you want to, right? You don't have something else that you need to have an obligation to or anything like that. You're just free. Just free. That's it. Free. Everything feels nice and warm. It's not too cold. It's not too hot. You don't have to worry about someone trying to, do something to you, who's going to betray and who's going to try to come after you and or who's going to try to take this or whatever. None of that stuff. None of that. Like true paradise. Paradise. So if the one thing that can be a constant motivation, a feeling of grandeur is to always stay on that thought and knowing of what's coming, what's it's starting. It's not where we wait for everything to be completely collapsed and then it comes in. No, see the bigger picture that it is happening now. It is coming in. You can feel it and it becomes powerful and empowering and it is peaceful. You see? And it's okay. It's okay to feel like I'm tired of them. They need for left. It's just like it's over. It's okay to feel that way. Yes, it is. It's okay. It's righteous. It's righteous because the time is up. The time is up for all of that. Okay? And new beginning means new beginning. It's not a cliche new beginning. This is the real new beginnings that are coming. Even I myself knowing that what Pluto in Aquarius represents, and then I know that I could feel all this energy pulsating within my entire body, right? And all the things that are still within the cellular aspect of my body is having to be exposed and broken down and igniting and all this type of stuff. And then imagine everyone else with where they are with this within themselves is the same thing. It's the same thing. So it's like we're creating that new grid in what's breaking down, and it's moving very silently and powerfully. There's a saying, I believe, and I don't remember the exact wording, don't quote me on it. When things are coming in and moving silently and the left hand doesn't necessarily know what the right hand said, that's where some real deep shit comes in with what's transforming here. Because sometimes you don't necessarily tell what's coming, or I mean, like tell someone, hey, da da da, because it comes in like an element of that surprise for things to shake up. So people that are still attached to these systems and beliefs that's been holding it up on earth, it's being expunged, and then we're having to assist with it being expunged. And that's why if it's even in secret, it's going to remain in secret until everything is completed, just for our own protection, just for our own protection. But there might be some that's out in the limelight and out there in what role they play, and that's okay too, you know so, but you will know for yourself where you stand and where source has you in where you're meant to be and what you're going to be either talking about. And it doesn't have to necessarily be explosive either. Like I said, it could be silent, it could be where you work, it could be your neighborhood. All I know is that everywhere is going to be affected with these changes. And I don't feel it's going to be on an exact point with dates as far as, in March, because I already can feel it's already starting to happen just based on all these earthquakes and all these different things that are happening. I just know it. I just know it. So it's still an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be in. Yes, it is. I will tell you, it is a very exciting time. And so even if anybody else, feel, oh, we should still be sad, because yeah, sure, you're sad, but I'm also in joy because this is what we've been waiting for. We have been waiting for something to come into place where things are finally connecting with love and connecting with, the true unity with one another. You see, and abundance, okay. Oh yeah, because even some children, animals are sick. They're sick of it too. Like really, really, really and truly. Every time I hear something that's going on that's affecting our children and animals, families, whatever, in the righteous way, I rebuke it. I put it out there and said, this is going to stop now. See, I'm just sharing this with you because I'm just keeping it real. I don't play. Like when I go into that, any of y'all who know me, when I get into that force energy, when I get into that forceful energy, like enough is enough with something I hear that's not right, that's it. I'm not going to turn a blind eye to it, because if I don't do it, then it's going to continue. We don't want to be walking on the earth or anywhere on the earth where we got to still be thinking about transmitting some trauma from something that was created because we didn't stop it. Okay? So just be mindful of that. When you see it, just like they say, you see something, say something. When you see something that doesn't feel right, that doesn't look right, even if you don't know that individual, you don't know the situation, we're gonna just transmute it. We're gonna change that now. We're gonna change these ways of how society pretends. Like, I notice people like to pretend that something is not happening, or this is not happening, this with that, or this person is not doing that, and oh, let's just turn the other cheek, and oh, let's not talk about the negative stuff. It's not negative. It's a reality of what's going on here, and nothing not going to change until we say something. Or even if you don't say something, but you're gonna either, or even if you write it out, it's because you're putting energy in motion, because it can't die. So we can only transform it. We can only transform it. So that's how we transform energy. That's how we turn something inside out. Okay? By how we see it, and then that's it. And even if that individual or whoever is uncomfortable, that's their problem. That's not your problem. That's their problem. Because the average individual, in most cases, they're in fear because they don't want to face what is going on out there. You see, they're in fear. Because if I say something to you about something that's going to come, and you get triggered by that, that's your fear. That's a fear to connect to. And notice the word I said, connect to the fear. Because when you connect to the fear, then you get to the root of where the fear comes from, how it began. So that way now, as you get to the root of it, you're able to face it, and then you can get through it, and then you get to the other side. Always we got to deal with those fears. So even if you hear something that seems like a doomsday, that seems like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Center thyself. Take it in. Take in that feeling that you're having in response to what you hear and see. And say, where did this begin? Where did that start from? How did it happen before? Was I 5 years old? Was I in another lifetime, perhaps, when this similar energy is familiar to me, and my body and my soul is responding to it? And now that I know on some level that it's linked to the past, it's not me. It's not me. When I say it's not me, is that I'm not the identity of the experience. It is the experience itself, to which I'm able to see myself and observe that experience. And now that I recognize that experience, I can now set myself free. I set myself free because I know that it was something I created, so that way I can get to know myself by seeing and experiencing something, so I can feel uncomfortable, so that I can now see my greatness in who I am. You see, so in everything and all moments with everything, what's going on right now, be in that space as well. That it's okay to feel the fear. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel that I feel so alone in all of this. It's okay to feel, oh, what if I'm a failure? What if I didn't do this properly? What if da 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 da? Because we tend to always go to the head, because that's the practice, that as soon as we start talking about, or we are aware of something that we're experiencing, we go to the head first. Want to understand it, want to make sense out of it, We want to solve it. Okay? So practice also when you see it and experience it. Let me just sit in it. Oh, let me just feel myself through what I'm experiencing. On the one hand, it could be this, but you know what? I'm just going to sit still and I'm going to sit in it. I'm going to feel the feelings. I'm going to feel the feelings. That's how you process. I'm going to feel how I feel. That's the reality, right? Because it's your reality. That's the reality. And then once you recognize it as the reality, then you also ask yourself, okay, now that I felt into this, what am I going to do next? If you can't figure it out yet, it's okay. Okay? It's okay if you haven't figured it out, because you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to figure it out right away. Sometimes you can just leave things up to source to work through you to figure it out. Okay? And sometimes things are figured out before you even knew that something existed that brought you into that space of fear. You see? When you practice that mechanism, it's like a muscle. Automatically, your soul is just gonna jump, 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 and then your spirit is like, I already know. I can feel it. Okay? Even if the outcome doesn't look like the way that you expect it to, again, there's something more to the picture that's coming. Okay? So the airplane view is, I know what I'm seeing as I look down on it, that it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. I'm a bit perplexed. I didn't do anything wrong. Why is this happening? Oh my gosh, why me? So we release all the victimization, and I have to say it like it is. I get it. I get it. I've been there myself, until it finally, when something else happens, I no longer place myself in why me, or why does this have to happen now, and oh, and then what I do is I sit in it. I might just go rest and sleep in it, just go sleep. That's what Black folks do. Sometimes we just sleep away the issues. But I'm grateful that all of the moments that I've had with that, I've had tremendous, tremendous growth and involvement with myself. And what it has done for me is everything definitely is going to be all right. It is, no matter what, no matter how it looks, and no matter how it feels inside. Very uncomfortable, you know and it's something that comes, it comes and goes, because you get through the next stage and then another stage comes, because we're always elevating, we're always moving constantly. The energy, your soul, everything's, even when you fall asleep, your soul is constantly in motion and evolving. It's a constant cycle. It is. And so when you are in acceptance of that, guess what? It feels easier. It feels easier, because then it's a part of that process. Okay, and who you are, and what how you're becoming in your own spirituality. And I use that term very loosely, spirituality, because we are spiritual beings. But I just like to say that yes, we are who we are in the essence of how we were created, right? In the likeness and image of the Most High. Okay, and I'm not referring to the gods of the earth that tricked and made us believe as if they're God, and the word God itself. I'm very aware of that. Okay, so, and I'm speaking in terms of the Most High, the Creator itself. And no matter what happens, that's who's in charge. All the minions and all these different, against all these different entities, whether we had the good Anunnaki, the not so good Anunnaki, the left, the right, the up, the down, the creator, our creator, is still in charge. That's intelligence. I say it like that because sometimes I think there's some humans on the planet that seem to forget that. Business, who want to do this trick, and the creator is still in charge. still in charge. The highest of the all there is still in charge. Okay? And that's why it's important to keep getting the mind right. And when I say getting your mind right, that means that you are aware of where your thoughts are coming from. You're aware of what brings you to that place and how you process things and perceive things. Because when you're aligning your mind and you're aligning your heart and you're aligning the feelings as well, okay, and then how you think logically, all of that plays a very important factor in these times. Because I can tell you all I tell you now, and then tomorrow something happens and you just don't even remember everything I just said. So that's why it takes somewhat of what we call a practice, because as it is happening is the key to how you remember, how am I going to process through this? How can I allow myself to accept this process, accepting it, and how I'm able to move through it and shift, or you don't shift because it's still going to continue anyway, and whatever is meant to happen is still going to happen anyway. You know, if you think back to 5 years ago when you were going through something else, right, what we were experiencing on these lands, it happened. It happened. And we had to give ourselves what? Time, right? Now we have time and we don't have time. So we're timeless and we're with time all at the same time. You see, because we're already in almost mid-February, I would say. February, I know February just started, but we're still, you know. And so eventually we're not going to be looking at time because everything's happening now. So in this now moment, I am aware of myself. I am grateful for my experiences. I know that the expression of who I am is both on one side of the polarity and the other. I'm in gratitude for all of the messages and all the signs and all the experiences that have helped me to navigate, to where I am on my greatest and highest purpose. And with such, I'm able to find the strength and the courage within me to move forward and to be an acceptance of myself in how I unfold. Because I am the gift that I have always been, always have. I am truly loved and I am in gratitude for this. And so, whatever mantra that you want to have for yourself, create for yourself, do it. Do it every single day. This is not about being perfect. It is not about right and wrong. It is not about what someone else says or what they don't say, right? If you can help someone, help them. If you can't, it's okay. You do not have to feel guilty about that, okay? Again, because we're releasing a lot of the components that existed during the age of Pisces, where we're dependent or waiting or having someone that dictates to us who we are to be and controlled. And yes, there's also the good side to where we are in tuned into the likeness of ourself, right? And creativity. And also there's the fluidity that comes with Pisces. You know, it's the fish, it's the water, it's the emotions, it's the connectivity in a different way. And it also connected with Capricorn, which built structure, discipline, hard work, really being able to manage things in the mental and the logical space. You know, because back in the ancient time when we began, we were so free and happy galore, you know, and we didn't think about anything called enemies, so to speak. We didn't think about betrayals. It was what we call naive, floating in space and fantasizing about all of the beautiful things that we want to create, you know? But unfortunately, there were some who, as simple as that may be, sometimes people hate you just for being simple. They could have it all. They could have all the things that they have, and they still are jealous, right, or envious. And unfortunately, we allowed some of our own people to betray us and go behind our backs. You see, and you know, I had to go deep into that constantly, and a lot of the females also let themselves down and betray themselves too, where they put their energy and you know, there was a lot of imbalance that took place as well, and putting ourselves out there and having no boundaries, you know, because Pisces don't represent no boundaries, like just give and sacrifice and give, you know, mothers, you know, give and give and give, sacrifice and sacrifice is that energy, right? And Pisces is very healing too, you know, represents healing mechanism, um, you know, how we are able to connect to our emotions, and again, the creativity. See, it's also a place of where we were able to experience going to someone and getting advice, right? A teacher, a mentor. But then there wasn't any balance with where am I coming back to myself also and what I know, and not just relying on someone to teach me or to be the one to tell me what I should do. So this is just some of the examples. This was just coming through to me, you know, from spirit, because, you know, the age of Pisces, I don't know how long it's been, but I know it's been a very long time. It could be I know it's over 100 years, you know, because we had the age of Taurus, we had the age of Aries, you know, and then we have Pisces, you know, we had the golden age too as well. We had the dark ages, the iron age. You know, I remember I went through that already on another live. And so we're transitioning into 20 something years with Pluto going into Aquarius. And again, it's like I think and I feel this rebellious energy too, you know, in a good way, you know, because remember, everything represents, there's a polarity on the one side and the other. And so, you know, when I think about Pluto, it's like you know, Pluto takes us deep into the core of what we have to look at, where we have to go deep within ourselves, and it breaks things up. Pluto just says, I'm going to mash this up. And Uranus is doing the same thing too. It's like, I'm just like, breaking this up, taking this off this way. This is going to be rearranged. This is the rearrangement. And Taurus is the fixed sign, and it's Earth. It's Earth in and of herself, and the beauty, right? And the physical component of our reality, because, you know, when I hear people talk about, oh, well, you know, we're just going to come and do this in another lifetime, and you know, when you ascend, you're just going to ascend, and you know, you're ascending in your spirit, and then that's it. You know, that's what happened during the age of Pisces when Yeshua was here. Now, I know this is the memo I received, so I got to trust what I received, is where we're ascending while we're in the physical body. We can't leave the you know, the dimensional space between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. We're in a physical body. Some people think that we're in the physical body because we're being punished and blah blah blah, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I feel and I know, right? The Aquarius in me, the Aquarius, I know that we are curious by nature, just like children. They're always curious, and that's who we are. We're children of the Most High, and we're still the component of the Most High. We're both. We represent both, mother, father, child. You know. You see your own creation of yourself, and then I see my creation of myself through my children, and it's the same thing as above, so below. That's what it means. It's like the Most High sees itself in itself, within itself, as me, as you, as the mother, as the father, and the child, and the other children, and more children, and it multiplies. And so whatever it knows of itself, it wants to experience what it knows. And so yes, when we descended, I believe we were not necessarily planning, when you plan something, and I don't feel we were supposed to descend this far down, but I still know that there's lower expressions of self. Doesn't mean it's bad, it just is. And so the lower expressions of self that has shown up in these realities is now having to reverse itself, or I should say spin the cycle into itself, because it's a loop, and it spins itself into the cycle of how it is demonstrating how low can I be in the expression of myself. I'm still God, right? In its expression. Can I find myself now to come back over to the other side, so I now balance out who I am? And then in the I am of who I am, then moves into another spectrum of consciousness, in another higher aspect of itself, while it's still experiencing itself in the lower aspects of itself. See, and it just keeps going on and on and on. It is never ending. It is never ending. And so these cycles itself is now choosing to experience itself together, lower and higher self. Okay, higher expression of self in multiple, I would say multiple factions, if that's the word to use. Okay, so it's like before we were all in the golden age and everything was just so woo, heaven, blissful, and then we went to the lowest point, and then we just have to keep gradually building and building and building, and while it's gonna keep going like this, on and on. On and on. And so these are the again, this is what is happening as we're moving through these cycles, in where everything plays from head to toe. Okay, from head to toe, the reflection, okay, from our heart to our mind, and our mind to our heart. And that's what really sets us free. And being in that acceptance. So we know our power. We know who we are in our own power, and still humble. The Leo side to us, wherever it is. For me, it's I believe it's in the, I don't know if it's in December 8th, but anyway, I know it's somewhere there within Sharon. I had to come to more that greater realization how Leo represents, it's the opposite, it's the opposite for me, yet it's still me. Because somewhere along the line, my son was in Leo in another lifetime, and the opposite was Aquarius. Now I'm Aquarius, and the opposite is this. My moon is in Pisces, and I have a lot of Pisces in my chart right now. So a lot of things is kicking my ass, literally, and I recognize it. I chose it. We choose what we want to bring together in all of this. We choose this. And in choosing this, we said we're going to really bring ourselves into this excitement of incarnating in this time and witnessing it. So you can just imagine those on the other side, because your ancestors are literally working with you big time working with you, because they're also experiencing what we're experiencing, and they're also able to shift while they're on the other side with us here, rooting us on. Because again, we're not repeating these generational curses and cycles with all of this. Did anyone says it was going to be easy? No, so there's going to be something, and it's so much. It's so much. And yes, it can be his, but you know, one of the bravest things you could ever do is incarnate in this physical reality, truly on this earth plane. Oh yeah. So you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Pat yourself on the back. Okay? Set yourself up for a nice warm crystal bath. Get you some salt crystals and stones, and you know, and soak in that tub sometimes if you can, if you have the tub. If not, they also have these little pod things when you're taking a shower. I mean, there's just so much different inventive stuff going on. You know, a lot of especially a lot of different women and young people too, and you know, is creating businesses now. You know, use your talents, use your gifts to the full potential. Okay, step out of the box, step out of fear, because that's another thing changing is where you work for yourself. That's a part of the land of the free. You work for yourself. You are your own boss. So Age of Pisces helped you to have someone to kind of guide you and tell you what to do, but also listen to your inner guidance. Your inner guidance, where you're moving into you know, whether it's healing mechanism, if you know you have the gift. You know, I was watching X-Men the other day. I've been watching it a long time. And when I think about X-Men, the X-Men is you and me. We all have different gifts, different powers that are going to be restoring. You know already in your heart what it is. You know already what it is. Work on your own self-healing, and if you feel guided, start your own practice of what you need to do, you know, for someone else if you feel guided to, if that's been your niche. It doesn't have to be healing mechanism either. Everybody's not necessarily meant to do the same thing. You could be a teacher and you're feeling the calling that you're going to start setting up homeschooling and help other parents who are doing their own home business, but they need assistance with their children. And you know that maybe you are a therapist and you decide that you want to be a teacher. You might be a teacher and say, it's time for me to do therapy. You know, or even if something has not been invented or created, you create it. You create it. You don't have to look it up to see if it exists. It exists because you are it. Get going and stop waiting and stop procrastinating. Procrastinating is good too. Sometimes it's good to procrastinate. You know why? Because I feel that once you're getting out of the procrastination stage, it kind of propels you to move forward even, you know, even faster. It kind of gets you out of you know, because we want to also remember that it's not just, I got to work. We got to pace ourselves. Allow ourselves to feel free, just like when you were a child. Just like how you are the child, not childish. You are the child that desires to be free and express him herself, expressing yourself while being in this freedom. And you're also prospering with this. So when you're prospering with that, because you are expressing yourself in that freedom, then guess what? You start to become prosperous, and you start to become wealthy, and you start to become healthy inside. That's where you start to become healthy. So you're not working yourself to death. You're not struggling. You're not feeling like I've got to do this. You're doing it because you love what you do. That's your passion. So if you feel you're not fulfilling your passion, then start fulfilling your passion. Just because the apocalypse, which really means the unveiling, is happening, just because the Armageddon is happening and all these other things are happening, doesn't mean that life doesn't go on, because you're gonna have to go on. Spirit is gonna make it. Spirit is gonna kick your behind to move forward now and stop waiting. Stop waiting on who and what. So even though many of us are probably kind of not in too many love relationships, it's okay, because you're working on yourself, and the individual and whoever is also working on themselves. And as you're working on yourself, it reflects back to them how they're working on themselves. So love is real. Love is real. Yes, it is. True love does exist. See, because I feel and know that that's the icing on the cake. And more. There's more. You and me, we were not meant to suffer, and we were not meant to be alone, and we were not meant to go throughout life and feeling as if we cannot connect to one another. The difference is that we are relating to each other in a different way. So Aquarius is on the positive side is connecting to one another while maintaining and having the individuality of self, while I am not relying on someone to tell me what to do or who I should be or where I'm to go, you see? And that they don't have control over me. I am in control of myself. I have self-control. I am emotionally balanced. I'm an emotionally expressive being. So I'm healthy emotionally and I'm emotionally healthy. The mental capacity that I have is that I'm a free thinker. I express my thoughts. I'm also logical. Things make sense to me. I make it make sense to me because I put the pieces together. I just don't go on and on and on, and I give myself time to feel into my heart what I know as well, so that way I'm in sync with what feels right, that aligns with my thinking and my thoughts. So as I continue to navigate and balance between my mind and my heart and my thought and my feelings, I feel so relaxed and free. That's the difference. Because if you start to have anxiety, which usually begins because your mind starts to keep going on and on and on with the stories, and you're on and on with trying to make it make sense, right? And then when your heart starts to talk to you, then you start to be afraid of what your heart is speaking to you because you've been hurt before and you don't want anything to misguide you. But I tell you that, remember, spirit is moving things in the direction for you to be balanced in within your heart, where you're feeling just as much as what you're thinking. So it's not overtaking, it's working together in union. So this is the union time frame for us. Union within self, union with your spirit, union with your beloved, who you're connected to. Nothing is left out. Okay? And so that true alchemical component of that connection is starting to align itself day after day after day. It's never just cut off, or sometimes, or maybe, or if I wasn't good today, then then it's not happening. No, it's always happening. There's no judgment with that. And even if it doesn't look the way you think it's supposed to look, it's still happening. It's still occurring. Okay? Very important to know that. And welcome the new you. The new year, another new year is coming in, because we're also in the year of the rabbit, Chinese New Year. I always knew I had Asian in my lineage because I love Asian food. I love it. I love it. I love different variety. I'm not surprised. I love variety of things. I love the expression of who we are, because if we were every single thing, if all of us was just one thing, same, it would be boring. It really would be boring. So we have the Gregorian New Year. Okay. Yes, that was created through the Roman Empire and all the control mechanism and blah, blah, blah. But it was still created for its reason. Yes, it was manipulation. How else were we going to know to come back to ourselves if we didn't have something that manipulated us, right? Is that nice? No. But it still existed. Are you really the age that you are? Is my birthday really February 10th? So it has been said at the time that it was created. It is not who I am. It is just the expression of myself in the timeline that was created for when it said that I incarnated on the planet again, because I've been here before. Do I let it upset me? No. Why? Why should I? What a waste of energy and time. It is what it is. So the next calendar, we have the Ethiopian calendar, and then we have Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year is still the age of the rabbit. When I think of the rabbit, I think of many different things, not just the mere fact that rabbits make great pets, and some people do other things with rabbit, which I won't get into that. But also we think about the rabbit hole, okay, which is the matrix itself, right? We're going down the rabbit hole. We're going to find and dig deeper into more things. We're going to open up more Pandora's boxes. But also the rabbit, the year of the rabbit, when I had looked it up, represented sort of like an individual path to your own passion, your own purpose, your journey, the usual, the wealth, and how you connect to your own exploration of self. You know what I mean? It's like when I think of Alice, because they're showing me Alice in Wonderland. I always spoke about Alice in Wonderland, where the rabbit said, come on, come on, come on. And we hesitate at times when it's time to go on our individual paths. And, she was, I'm talking about the most recent Alice in Wonderland, when she was told to go get married. She was supposed to be in that arranged marriage, and she decided, nah, screw this. I'm going to follow the rabbit. Matrix was the same thing. Follow the rabbit. So there's a symbolism with that. There is a symbolism with that. And so when I think of it put together, it has to do with how we follow our path, even if someone else doesn't understand it or understand it or overstand it. That we can now be on our self journey, right? It's a self journey. The journey to self, but also the journey to self connecting to others. Because let's face it, we're here. Everything that connects, all the dots, even the freaking AI, which represents also a part of Aquarius. It's like there's a thin line between where we're going to take everything that connects to Aquarius when it comes to the positive side and the negative side, the dark side and the light side, right? I've had my moments with Google when it's coming in and I'm like, get the fuck off my phone. Like, coming in like, oh, are you trying to get off my, it's like, it's your own self reflecting the relationship and the interrelationship with who you are with self and the path that you're being led on. And even as you go along the way, like Yeshua, when he had his own temptations, because he was going up another level. He was going up another level. And all he kept saying was, get behind me, Satan. Get behind me, Saturn. Get behind me, all these tests. All these different tests, all these different paths that look like you're being diverted. Are you going to remember to connect again to the heart and the mind? Like, this might not feel so good right now, but I'm not going to make a decision yet. Let me wait till tomorrow and see if I get another sign. And then you might see something you read and your mind will be like, oh shit, that's what I said I was going to do, but should I really do it? Well, my heart tells me I should, and it makes sense because this happened 2 weeks ago with something else, and that's how you navigate it. And so you follow the rabbit. You follow the rabbit into where, and the rabbit could be anything. Like I said, it's not for me to tell you what it could be because that is your relationship. The rabbit is source. And source is going to show up probably as a rabbit, and it could show up as a fox. It could show up as a hen. It can show up as the AI. And I'm being real. We don't know. Again, navigate through everything. Always remember too, whatever you feel that you would have been the greater or the greatest expression of who you are was when you were a child. You were shown that when you were a child. You see? And so it's that it connects with the gut feeling like, I know that's what I'm meant to be and do. Is it with the right individual? Is it connecting me with this individual and that is an individual? If someone else had a not so good relationship with that individual, does it mean that I'm not supposed to follow that path? These are the things we have to keep sorting through. And we sort through it not only because we get advice from someone else, because that person might be basing their bias on what they went through, or they might be looking at it, well, I don't know. You know what I mean? And the more you build up your character and your strength with where you go with following the rabbit and following your path and where you are and creating your wealth and, you know, all of these things, because wealth is a representation of everything. Wealth to me is the health, the prosperity, feeling wholesome inside, feeling balanced inside, feeling good inside. You see? And you're not dependent on anyone or anything because you're sovereign. That's what the new earth is. That's what the wealth is sovereignty, freedom, communing together, meaning that we're looking out for one another and how we're recreating the village and taking care of our wives and our husbands and our children. Everyone is wholesome inside and feeling good inside. And this health, this type of health itself, because that's a health that makes up your health, is feeling connected with one another. When we're disconnected, you're not healthy anymore. It becomes unhealthy because you know deep down inside you want to feel connection. You do have the connection because you could still be disconnected from someone, but you're still connected. But do you remember that? Do you know that? Do you know the connection always is? Or do you feel something has to show itself that the connection exists? You see? And that's where, again, depending on where you are in your healing process, your ascension process, your, with your shifting, who you are, how you define yourself, where you are in your, solidifying you and where you're being led. Okay? What you're letting go of. What you're letting go of. You see? Do you have the capacity to let go of everything but knowing you have it all? Or do you feel that you have to see it first to believe it and then you think you have it all? You see? So feel into that, what they're showing me about the year of the rabbit. And then we move into the cycle of the equinox. And when I think of the equinox now, I think about beginnings again. It's like, how many beginnings we're gonna have? Beginnings upon beginnings upon beginnings. And as it is said, we have beginnings and endings and beginnings, right? Those who are first will be last, and those who are last, or those who have been last will now be first. Guess what category we fall into? Those who have been last shall now be first. What does that mean? That means that you are being propelled to lead the way in love and thoughts and higher states of consciousness. You're being led into what is being created on earth. So whether it's farming, true education, where it is based on the truth, what the true reality is in terms of our heritages, what really happened, what has been exposed, and what is being revealed. So that is also playing a role in what is also coming, right? What comes into equal balance? See, what comes into equal balance with your relationships, how we spring forward, right? So they're supposed to turn put the clocks to go forward, and everything's moving faster, and the sun is shining longer, and that's that's of course in the northern hemisphere, and the southern hemisphere is going to start experiencing the opposite, right? Where they're moving into the fall. So either way, everything is still going to come into equal balance. On the earth itself, things are going to come into equal balance. Of course, where things have been created in certain pockets of land masses, like if there's certain cities, um, where you have lands where people have been buried underneath it, it's gonna break apart. It's going to break apart. I'm telling you. If there are certain regions where there were rivers, lakes, I should say more lakes, excuse me, that were built on people who have been buried alive and all these type of things, it's going to turn over. It's going to reveal itself. It's going to open up more sinkholes, different certain parts of the states. I mean, they showed it to me. Certain parts of the states, including California, is going to separate itself from the lands that is what we call the states. Parts of it is going to break off and part of it is going to still be there, but something they keep showing me is going to detach. It's like it was meant to be an island or something. Okay. And at the same time, and the same token, there's parts of lands that are going to start coming together because it's going to come back together, just like how it was, what you call Pangea. There's regions in New York, the same thing's going to happen where parts of regions are going to break off. Florida is like different land masses, wherever anything had been broken off or man-made or not natural. Okay, in some instances, not all. It's like the earth itself is recycling and changing things and like rotating and shifting things around. Um, and you will be guided. You will be guided. You will be shown. You will be protected. Know that. Okay? And for some, it's just going to be pockets of judgment here and there. There is also information that the judgment itself is going to be based on where you are in thoughts, consciousness, beliefs. Because if your frequency is not matching what's happening on Earth, you're going to end up coming off planet, basically. And coming off planet mean that either you're gonna evolve. I'm not saying whoever's still listening. So this is like based on anybody who might come across this live, is where they end up coming off planet. They show me, and as you showed me this before, some may just transition like immediately, because I know that I've kept seeing where people are just transitioning. Usually during the equinox, a lot of people transition. A lot of people transition during the equinox time frame, and usually during eclipses and all that stuff. And it's because it's getting stronger. It's getting stronger. And then of course there's some people who took, that thing, and in some cases there are people who took it that there are certain diseases that have returned back to their body because their immune system is shot. So it's very important to connect to your immune system. Pay attention to what's needed to build your immune system. What part of your body is talking to you, especially if you did experience COVID, what part of you was affected? What you need to take for your lungs if you need to, heal your lungs. There's the mullein tea, chlorophyll, where it's connecting to your entire body and what it can do for you in your healing process. For the women, womb detoxing is very important, because remember that a lot of things that you've experienced through the cells of your body has been through any type of sexual contact and energy with other people that you've been in contact with, past lives, this life, everything. So all of that plays a part and a role in what's coming together, even up until the equinox. And yes, we've gone through the equinox many other times, but remember, this is different. This is different because Pluto in Aquarius is also culminating with the equinox at the same time. So, and that's all, what I know, what they showed to me. So for now, I mean, it's not like I never said this before, but that's what, I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing. Um, And I feel that we're being propelled to communicate with one another even more telepathically. I feel that's going to come. So a lot of things are going to happen very, very, very supernaturally. And, like if you see, something that is out of this world or whatever, someone else like right across is going to see it too. So it's not going to be where, oh, you're the only one that has the gift of sight or whatever. And this is the way that Source is doing this, where the experience of what is necessary to get acclimated to the changes coming to the planet includes the supernatural stuff. Different beings are going to start showing themselves even more. Okay. Because I've been seeing, sometimes hearing music in other dimensions that, that still happens now and then, where I'm hearing music in other dimensions, seeing figures walking by or something. And I'm just like, oh, okay. That's it. As long as you don't come over here and mess with me, that's fine. But I see you, you know. Um, and I feel that there are more people that are gonna start growing their own, gardening and so on and so forth too. Like I see more of that coming. I see more of communities coming together. If you're in the capacity where you have certain items and things, to prepare to have it for bartering, um, because we'll get in the practice of trading with each other too as well. Okay, or whatever we sell with each other. So even if it means that you start putting your stuff together on Etsy or having your own website built, applying for grants. I posted on Facebook a whole bunch of grants this month in February for Black History Month. There's a lot of grants available for entrepreneurs, Black women. I think there's 2 or 3 of them. One of them is like an easy peasy one, like less than a minute to fill it out. It's not asking for a whole bunch of questions, so tap into the resources. Yes, the value of money is going to go down and it's going to go up, but in the meantime, at the bat station, continue to live. Continue in whatever part in the system if you feel comfortable with that, because you still got to eat, you still got to pay rent or mortgage or whatever. If you're living off the land where everything's paid off, wonderful. Okay, so because I'm going to be realistic. So you're not going to throw out all of the baby and the bath water. We're going to move through the cycle. And it's almost like being prepared in 2 different realities, right? As we transition, just like Pisces is transitioning into Aquarius. So we're transitioning into things that are of monetary value. We're transitioning into how we relate to each other in terms of trade, because that's what we used to do in the beginning of time. We had trade and commerce. We would travel distances and trade with spices, gold, silver. If you're in the capacity to get gold and silver, especially silver now while it's a little bit cheaper, get silver, get coins, have physical assets. If there's anywhere that you can get land at a cheap rate or whatever, you do that. Or however, whatever you can, to whatever resources, that's what's important, to have that. It's not going to be like bam, everything just end in a certain way overnight. It's a gradual process, but at least being prepared so it won't be too much on you, especially if you have children, that you're prepared. Just like as if the lights are going to go out, when you have to have your candles, your batteries, and this and this and that. It doesn't mean you're going to sit every day in fear like, oh my God, when is it going to happen? No, you're just being aware and prepared. That's intelligence. That's intelligence. Some people do not want to relate to that type of intelligence. They rather like, oh, you're speaking negative stuff. It's not negative. It just has to do with the reality of how things are transforming on the earth. Remember, there's so many stories of where people were warned about a flood coming and this and that. And they're like, oh no, it's not going to happen over here. It's sunny and bright and shiny outside. Okay. I'm not saying to be in the fear of whether or not a day is going to come. That all I'm saying is you will know and sense, because it could be that it happens and then all of a sudden the spirit says, oh, you need to go to the store, whatever. And the storm passed and you weren't home at the time when it happened. You know what I mean? It's like just being in the space of rolling with the punches no matter what happens, and being prepared, okay? Because it is happening on earth where the changes and the transformation is taking place on all levels. This is the time. If you feel, oh, I want to continue my child in this school system that's corrupted and stuff like that, it's time to rethink that, because these are the times and the days of what is ending. You know, the Sodom and Gomorrah, all the different names and titles they have, because the things in and of itself has to destroy itself or recreate itself so we can move forward and create the new. You can't mix both at the same time. We can't, and it's not going to. Spirit is not going to allow it to happen. Okay? So, and in all things in moderation. Be mindful of any chemical substances that you use, any type of when I say chemical, like if you use certain medicinal products and stuff like that, pay close attention to any substances that you might use for healing purposes as well. And the reason why Spirit is having me mention that, because remember, your body is also changing and it might not be able to withstand it any longer. So you might be having reaction in your body, to do with taking substances, okay, which includes even, weed or any other plant based medicine. It might work for you for now, and you might say, well, what's going on, because this has never affected you. You might be allergic to avocado and you weren't before. Just know that your body is going through transformational changes, okay, with certain foods. So it's best to also make sure that you drink a lot of water, which I have been guilty of not doing that, but now I am, because doing the red light therapy is really having me drink more water and stuff like that, and balance out what I eat. You know what I mean? While still being able to eat the foods that I love, because hey, I love my callaloo, and love my ackee and saltfish and stuff like that, and now and then I'll just eat certain chicken with vegetables, and sometimes I don't want it, I don't want it, anything like that. I've been cutting down on even sometimes I want to have like the brown sugar and tea, and now I just use just a little tip of honey so I can wean myself more and more off of sugar. All these different things they put in the foods and stuff like that. And I don't eat snacks anymore. Yay. I don't have to snack too, because even though I work throughout the night, sometimes I want to have something. So I drink a lot more teas, ginger especially, because a lot of times you might be feeling things going on with your intestines, or you might be feeling different feelings with your heart, because your body again is starting to adapt to the frequencies that are flowing on the planet. So that means that certain things that you eat, anything that you're putting in your body, is going to be affected. Women, if you are using certain hygiene type of products, be mindful if it's anything that you're using internally, any type of birth control that you're taking. Pay attention to your body with that, because you might have to stop being on birth control, because your hormones are also changing with the changes on the planet as well. Okay, because there's even women in their 20s that are feeling like they think they're going through menopause, because they're feeling heat in their body. Because remember, your body is pulsating, just like every time Mother Earth is having these volcanic eruptions and stuff. That's a part that represents the menstrual cycle, the cycles of the body that is going through all these rapid pulsation in the uterine walls and all this type of thing. That's also happening in some cases. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, at least as much. I thought I was going to turn on the music, but Spirit had me focus, on whatever was going to come through. Whatever was going to come through. So, and I know I have been, what's that word again? Not silent, missing in action. That's what it is. Missing MIA. And again, I'm really, really experiencing a lot going through this nodal return in Taurus, you know, and it's about the physical body. It's about the physical body, and I have to ground myself. You know, like I said, I have a lot of Pisces in my chart. I have Neptune, the Moon. I have Saturn in Pisces, so I'll be going through a Saturn return. I also have Venus in Pisces. So Venus is also supposed to be in Pisces coming up, I think, in the next week or so. And so all of that part of my chart is endings and reformation. You see, and as I'm ushering in the sun, my solar, as I said, my solar return, and it's also going to be a significant solar return for me this Friday, because Friday is the day I was actually born, on the Friday. So Venus, that's Venus Day, right? I was born in the island of Jamaica. I I can only say that I feel so much of the change within me since the last time we spoke, since the last time I've been on here. And I feel so strong how much I am like exploding in a way with all this energy, and that I knew that I came here to really bring it in like a bang, you know, because anybody knows, of course, you know, my ascendant is Sagittarius. So and Sagittarius within me is connected to that life within me, that, you know, I'm the life of the party. I have so much of this energy, and so a lot of times I feel like I can't sleep. Like I literally feel like I can't sleep. Like it's just restlessness, and also there's the connection to the, you know, beliefs as well. So I knew that I am also chosen in within my family structure as well to break it down, and I'm not afraid of that at all. I always felt that rebelliousness in me from as a child. There's certain things and I would just tell it to the adults. I was like, well, I think that's stupid. I said that. And I used to ask questions. So question things. I question, you know, question things like, does this make sense? This don't make no sense. Now, how come this is that? Then make it make sense. And everybody would just walk away and they just will answer me. And if you don't give me the answer, I'm going to look up the answer. That's how I was. That's how I was. And that's how I still am. If you don't give me the answer, I'm going to look it up right here. And if need be, I might look it up on Google too. You know, you can go Google, don't give everything. Then I know. So you know what? I go on DuckDuckGo. Okay? I go on DuckDuckGo where it's not restricted, because there is a book that was led to me to get. That book costs, I think it's like $10,000 or something like that. And I'm like, I'm gonna get that book, but I ain't spending no $10,000. So I was like, Spirit, lead me to home. I can't get the book, because I know it must be somewhere where I can get it as a PDF. And I'm gonna download that shit. And I sure did get it. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. See? So I persevered. Now I got it. Did I read it? No, but I have it. You know what I mean? And it's had something to do with the dark what's it called, mysteries of the dark moon, and something to connect it to do with the feminine energy, like the Lilith, and I believe it has to do with mother from the beginning of time, something to that effect. And it's called The Black Goddess and the Unseen Real. So I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that book, and it has to do with our unconscious senses and their uncommon sense. I didn't remember that was what it was about. And it's basically like it's somewhat of a masterpiece, but it was written by Peter Redgrove, who was born in 1932, and it has to do with a lot of the exploration and the illumination of the human element, and what we go through when it comes to it says ability to feel colors, sense emotions through the body's chemical changes, responding to the earth's magnetic fields, and so on and so forth. It's 128 pages, but I was able to get the book online and download it. And I haven't read it, but I was just told to get the book because a lot of things are probably going to start getting more scarcer because people are going to be looking for information. And of course, some things were suppressed because they didn't want the information out there because it's going to reveal, But remember, even whatever is written in terms of information, it is still within us. Because sometimes we might just hear one word and then all of a sudden you just start to awaken to more information and become even more empowered. But on overall, as I was stated before, and I think I interrupted myself as usual, is that going back into the beginning with all of this is going back within the black goddess, okay? Because it was through the void and the darkness to whence we had come. And there was a part of the black goddess, the mother, they call it the Black Madonna, to which when the split occurred, and then, what they call the fallen angels, or those who fell from grace, or those who disconnected from source, and it was through the Lilith, or even more so through I forgot the other word. Oh God, help me, Spirit, with that word again. Oh man, I can't remember that word, that terminology. Luciferian light, the Luciferian, which is the in between, Luciferian light. And again, it has to do with knowing of oneself and where we place our own power. But then some disconnected from source because they believed and knew themselves in the power that they have, because you know that you have a specific amount of power as God, as source, and so you become gods. And then what ended up happening is that some of them chose to want to use their power over others. And these are the same cycles that have been repeating over and over again. Shows up in, the Illuminati, as they call it, or, Rothschilds, and all these different factions and names, white supremacy, the Catholicism, everything. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, just a different name. It's the same thing, just a different name. And so throughout time, it has gone on and on and on and on and on and on with all of that control and manipulation. And the only way that it can get to you is if you forget yourself, if you continue to forget yourself. So that's why if you know yourself and you dig deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper of knowing yourself, and you're not forgetting as much as you did before. The memory is coming back, right? You're going through cycles of the memories, and some of the memories we've had fear of those memories because of any links to trauma that we've had. And so a lot of times we're afraid to go back into the past and not face those fears. And that's why it's important to face the fears that you have, because sometimes the fears are going to come up like subliminal fears. Face those subliminal fears as well. Okay? Because each time you get through that, you're able to pierce through that darkness. You're able to pierce through that part of yourself that you were afraid to see, that part of you with who you are in that darkness as the darkness. Okay? And so when a specific individual moves into power, and I'm not talking about it in a general sense, I'm talking about a specific individual. I said, I just feel like she's going to be pushed into that reality of becoming a part of that government system and the highest ranking president, whatever. That's going to trigger a lot of people, and it's going to create a rippling effect all around. Just imagine that. Imagine that for just a split second. You don't have to hold the thought for too long. Okay? And her name itself represents Lotus. What is Lotus? And no coincidence. I mean, not a fun, because, Charlize released her song called Lotus Cloud, right? Lotus Cloud. The lotus flower itself is the flower and the seed that's planted in the darkness, right? And in that darkness, when people hear something about someone and they form their own what do you call it, reality. They form their projections. They form their own opinions, and they forget to think about the fact that there's a purpose. So in order for us to get to the next side, there has to be something collective that's going to break us free. Just like how the C virus came in, right? It had to break something in so many different ways. It brought us back to having to pay attention to our health. It brought us back to connecting to our families. It brought us back into our own value and our worth. That's what Taurus is as well. Uranus and Taurus is breaking the bond and the chains we've had kept on ourselves during the age of Pisces, where we're controlled, right? And having to deal with all the structures that have been in place. There's nothing wrong with structures. We need structures sometimes, because if I didn't have structure, I'd probably be all over the place, just floating free and, don't care. My children help me to have structure because it's like I had to be disciplined. Having 2 businesses I run keeps me disciplined in terms of how I structure my time. But I also don't allow myself to be pulled down and heavy with it as well. You see? And so I had to create my own boundaries, and I had to practice to balance my time, and and so on and so forth. So and the thing about it is, in our reality, we desire to be in a place where we don't have to think about, oh, why should we have to pay for light bill and gas bill when that's supposed to be free? Why are we paying for rent and mortgages when the land was free? The lands were stolen everywhere. Did they think that the new earth means that it's going to stay this way, where you're paying mortgages and rent? No, it's not going to be that way. That's what's dying. That's what's leaving. That's what's disintegrating. So I'm just keeping it real. Okay? Freedom is freedom is freedom. You're not supposed to pay for water. You're not supposed to be dealing with having to do about poison in water, and the water is not being filtered out in some places and all that stuff. There's not going to be anything to do with anything blocking the sunlight. There's going to be more suns that are going to be pulsating on the earth. What are they going to do? They can't stop it. And there's the energy of the sun that you won't be able to see, that you're going to feel it, and there's energy of the sun that you will see. So the revelation of the true sons, right, of the Christ consciousness is what is coming forward. It's it's here. It's closer and closer. It's pulsating now. You see, the earth itself and everything that exists and the cosmic sense is revealing itself. Angels popping up, I see, in other locations and stuff like that. Roars in the mountain. The Titans have been awakened. Everything, the gods have awakened everywhere. So whether or not you don't see it and you don't experience, doesn't mean that, it's like someone used that example. If a tree is falling somewhere and you don't hear it, doesn't mean the tree didn't fall. Yes, it did. Okay. So it's still moving in its path and its purpose. Everything's moving in its path and its purpose. And that purpose itself is that many of us volunteer to be the badasses, and I mean badass in a good way, okay, to break these walls down, to break down whatever it is that existed, and assist ourselves through source. Okay, the earth is well within herself. Okay, she's doing whatever she's meant to do and to be, in how she's cleansing herself. And we're going through these purification cycles. And these cycles are going to continue. We're going to keep going through purification and more purification and more. So that's the reason why too a lot of water element stuff is going on, because Pisces is also water. And the water itself is like having a baptismal, but a different type of baptismal. So you're being cleansed of your mind and how you think. There are some entities, I should say, where all the different stuff that they try to, what do you call it? Like come up with their schemes and all that stuff. Their memories are going to be wiped out, and they're just out of here. So, I'm just watching. They're going to, it reminds me so much of Austin Powers. If you remember Austin Powers, the international man of mystery, when they were going to send the fembots to lure and entice him, to trap him, and he ended up turning the tables and seduced them, and they just started blowing up all over the place. So just look at yourself as we are the international men of, and women of no mystery, because all the mysteries and all of the wonders are all dissipating, because everything is being revealed. That's what the apocalypse represents, revealing. What is the revealing of things. And that revealing itself means that we are the ones that are exposing everything that is hidden is coming to light. And that means that light itself is information. It's not just the physical light when you're looking at a light bulb and what's lighting up. You see all the stuff. I have my new table set up. I always have more plants and more plants. I can't help it. I love my plants. I have about maybe 100 now, but I love my plants. It's like they make me feel so good inside, and they definitely don't talk back. But anyway, but they do. They talk, but they don't talk back. You know what I mean? When it comes to children, when you're having these little dialogues or whatever, and you see the reflection of yourself. And so everything that is, I forgot what I was saying, so I'm going to just go like I'm starting again. So everything that is moving in these cycles of the reflection of these changes itself is... It's just opening a neural path, because it's how it's just coming through like magnetically for each and every one of us, and it opens the doors for everything else that is just disappearing. It's just gonna just disappear, and you could be just standing in one position somewhere, and someone else is standing right next to you, and all of a sudden they're just gone, totally gone and disappeared, or their mind is not, they're not here, or you become invisible because they're in a different dimension, you see. And a lot of species are going to start to show and present themselves. Like I heard that there were some dolphins that showed up in the Bronx, which is unusual, and a lot more unusual things are going to start. But some people are going to be like, oh, that's nothing, oh, I don't believe that, or I don't care, or it doesn't matter. But it matters to us, because we know those are the signs you pay attention to while things are being revealed and uncovered, as the veil and everything else is uncovered and it's pushing itself out. So it's like this is that part of that rebirth, recycle, as we call it, you see. And it's powerful. It's very, very powerful. So that's the part that brings me joy, because it shows me that things are in action. Things are in action. Things are moving in the direction that we've been waiting on, and the stagnation of the energy itself, because the density that's existed on the planet is what has held us back before. It's what has kept us stuck, where we create, and then all of a sudden it moves in another direction, and then we're creating again, and then it's like it's like fighting, with something. But now it's like it's freeing up the energy, and as it's freeing up the energy itself, this is where I believe and know where that 369 energy is coming in, and the magnetic field itself is expanding. And as it is expanding, you're going to start feeling it even more in your brain cells and also your heart. So pay very close attention, to that as well. And I feel that what's important, if you can, is to keep crystals like rose quartz, in your bed when you're sleeping, okay, to help you to balance out the energy as well. So anyway, I've been talking longer than I thought, which, that's why sometimes I was a little bit like, I don't know if I can come on, but I know it has been months. So happy new new earth, continuously as we're creating new earth. The happy new year of the rabbit, and happy spring equinox. That's again is a representation of the astrological new year, but I also look at it as the true year of our creation cycle, our creation cycle. Yeah, and that's the best way to put it. It's our creation cycle, and it just feels like something that the planetary bodies itself are merging and integrating closer and closer within one another. So we're having to um, keep facing whatever the karmic cycles have represented for you individually and collectively, even and so within your bloodline. Pay very close attention to the things that exist within your bloodline. If you feel you don't know, however things have been in your childhood with your mother and your father, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, nieces, nephews, that is whatever that energy, how it shows up, that's the main focus, because you're here to bust it up, break it up, transmute it, and bring it into an even flow. You see? So karmic energy doesn't mean that you're facing consequences. Karmic energy is what you're bringing into balance. That's what it means. So yes, yes, yes. So on that note, I'm going to look for Charlize's song so you can hear it again. Don't forget to follow follow Charlize on Instagram if you're able to. If you're on Instagram, Charlize.green, and you can find her music on Spotify, Shazam, iTunes. She's about to put herself more on YouTube as well. She has a YouTube channel. It's Sanchild. That's her stage name. So it's S as in Sam, A, N as in Nancy, Sanchild. You know what? I forgot to ask her what it means. Charlize,
Yeah.
what does Sanchild mean? I want to tell.
Son.
You look like you went to the island somewhere and got a tan. What the heck?
Do I?
Yeah.
It might be the Vaseline.
Anyway, tell them what Sanchild means.
So san in Japanese, because when I was 13, I started trying to learn Japanese. It's hard. Anyways, so san means 3 in Japanese, right? And I put child because I'm born in 2003. Oh, shocking, right? So, right, born 2003. So I put san child because I am of the year 2003. I'm a child of the year 2003, essentially.
So that's what that means in Japanese?
San means 3 in Japanese, and then I put child, which is English.
Oh, okay. Okay. So there you go. That's
nice.
She came up with the name, Sanchild as her stage name. So
I
you can
could
follow.
have used my government name, right? I could have did that.
Well,
but I don't want people I don't know calling me by my name.
That's okay. That's all right. Because you see all those paperwork and stuff with what they trick, with the names and stuff like that. All I know is that I created the name for her where I am in consciousness, and my consciousness supersedes the government and their tricks and paperwork and certificates, and all those contracts and stuff is breaking down. That's all I know. See, so be very mindful again of allowing yourself to be controlled by contractual values in what someone else is saying, what a contract is. Even if you signed it, your power supersedes to cut the contract because you declared that it no longer exists. Okay? That's a different level of power that you have to find out within yourself as you go along. Okay? It's in stages. It's in stages. Yes, it is.
The artist within the universe and beyond.
The artist within the universe. Because next thing you know, they want to tell you, they want to charge you to say the word universe. Right. I don't think so. Okay. We're not going to continue to give our power away like that any longer. See? So that's how we break the cycle. That's how we break the cycle. I didn't have to do no paperwork to declare my sovereignty. Not at all. I am the walking, living embodiment of sovereignty and freedom. Not because I have to get permission from anyone. No permission. Okay? Because the only type of energy, I'm going to say energy, that I answer to is the Most High. Okay? That's the permission. And I don't even have to ask permission. It's granted because the energy itself of the Most High knows my heart. You see? And I don't have to explain that to anyone. So be mindful of not allowing yourself to be manipulated with paperwork and contracts. If you have to play the game, play the game. But don't attach to it in any mental space game and what people try to come at and say blah 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 blah. Because all those things is just gonna disappear. I'm telling you, it's gonna disappear. It really is. It's starting to. So I'm going to play Charlize's song one more time. And I did download it on iTunes. Yes, I did. And I'm hoping to play it. See, YouTube can't bother me, and I'm putting nothing on there about me playing anybody else's music. See, that's right. Yeah, I'm trying to get the speaker to come on. All these technical things. Oh,
But if reality speaks, my surroundings are bleeding.
come again, because I want you to hear her mix. She did it all herself.
Hey, hey, what's good? I'm fine. What's happening? We chillin', we cool. Okay, we back at it. We back at it, my friend. So let's go hop in, saga. I'ma let my soul speak from here on out. In case you didn't notice, I'm floating on this Lotus Cloud. Hey, on my conscience, it's about time I'm sprouting. Flowers and I would insisted on manifesting. The brain is mighty powerful. I'll awake in the morning, sun is rising, birds beating, chirping and speaking on the horizon. But if reality speaks, my surroundings are bleeding. Colors don't play easily like you and me, so I hope to be. I'm up in the sky, I'm flying high. I'm floating on Lotus Cloud. I'm up in the sky, I'm flying real high, and nothing can take these wings of mine. I always know that someday I'll be somebody. Call it sudden attack, I rolled up on shore like a tsunami. Shifting this earth plane like tectonics. Just trying to master this craft of paper, pulling all the origami that some copy and paste. But better fail cause they technique is sloppy. Head on my way, but before you get body acting all lottie-dottie. Understand that I'm blindly driven with ambition. I'm hoping and waiting, but willing you to listen to these stories. I paint as pretty pictures, although painful my brushes flourish with conviction. Canvas on my so bloody, the colors came out so bleak. Slowly they started running, so now I hope to be. I'm up in the sky, I'm flying high. I'm floating on Lotus Cloud. I'm up in the sky, I'm flying high, and nothing can take these wings of mine. Yes, and so it is. Thank you so much for all your love and support. I noticed that no one is commenting. Y'all must have been really engaged because you haven't heard me talk in so long. That is like I don't hear nobody making any comments. So anyway, blessings and peace, power, manifestation, shift, and everything that you are being and doing as we are continuous in our path and our journey, that we know that as we are navigating on a daily basis, day to day, that is the spiritual food, that we are nourishing our minds and our souls with the spiritual food just as much as the physical food, knowing that the nourishment that it is providing, that we are well and wholesome within. Okay? And that everything we touch is blessed and sanctified. Everything that we are being is blessed and sanctified. Everything we're doing is blessed and sanctified. Everything that comes together is blessed and sanctified and multiplied and multiplied and multiplied. It is infinite, as we are infinite beings and we are spiritual beings having
a physical experience which comes together in that true alchemical marriage of the Christ. And so it is. I love you all. Peace and blessings to you. And I will not say when I'll be back on again, but I know that no matter what, everything's on time and its purpose. And so it is. Ashe.